Odyssey Sports Station.
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia.
Preseason is important, going through warm-ups and the energy that comes with playing a game in front of fans.
24 hours until the preseason opener, Bills-Bears.
Mike Danger.
I think there's always a cautious optimism around this team this time of year.
Gene Battaglia.
We've got football tonight.
Usually preseason games, you're like, bubble wrap everyone, just get to the other side, be healthy. I want that, and also I am excited to see what the on-field product looks like.
95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
Hey, a very good afternoon to you. Welcome on into the Sports Bar, Rochester's only local sports talk show. Glad you're with us and listening along at 95.7 FM, AM 950, the free-to-download Odyssey app, your smart device when you ask it to play 95.7 The Fan, and our video stream, which is up and rolling on our YouTube page at The Fan Rochester, our YouTube channel, also streaming on Twitch, twitch.tv/The Fan Rochester. It is the eve of game day.
It is. And I'm looking back at yesterday. Imagine if we had this weather out of Fisher. Oh, my gosh.
Man, it's a soaker today.
Yeah.
But, the team obviously has pulled up stakes. They are back in Orchard Park preparing for the Chicago Bears. Week 1 of the preseason got underway last night. The Bills kick off at 1 o'clock at Highmark Stadium, a game you'll be able to hear on The Fan Rochester. And we're here to kind of recap everything that went down during the Rochester portion of training camp today and also look ahead to tomorrow's action here this afternoon on The Fan. We appreciate your phone calls at 866-4326 if you want to pull up a stool and join us. Give us some thoughts on not just what you may have seen at training camp, but what you're looking forward to seeing coming up on Sunday. And we thought also today we would take some time to revisit some of our favorite conversations from the last 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, today we're going to be hearing from Von Miller, our sit-down here with a future Hall of Famer. He stopped by the Sports Bar when we were out of the Pelicano Pavilion. Also, Connor McGovern, who... he's an interesting dude, Danger, and he's got some personality. And I think as Bills fans kind of get to know him a little better, yes, he was a starter last year, but when you're the center, kind of you're a leader on this team, right? You have to be. I would say Deion Dawkins certainly the leader on the offensive line by tenure, but Connor McGovern, the Buffalo Bills center, talked to him about that transition going from left guard to being the guy who now snaps the ball to Josh Allen.
Yeah, we'll replay both of those conversations for you here throughout the course of the afternoon, and of course we'll get you caught up on everything happening around the NFL. We got a little bit of news this afternoon. I mean, I don't want to call it breaking news. I don't know if it's worthy of that, but Juju Smith-Schuster is going to be released by the New England Patriots, which, I mean, you talk about a player who, when he came into the league with Pittsburgh, had, you thought, just a world of promise and a few really good seasons with the Steelers before kind of just becoming invisible, really.
Yeah, that was a big contract he signed with New England. 3 years, $25 million. And, do you really see the end of that contract? No, you don't. Maybe he ends up back in Kansas City. So I think this is smart for the Patriots doing this way. Like, are the Patriots going to be good? No. When they do get good someday, are they going to have Juju Smith-Schuster, who, by the way, is now in his 8th year in the league? No, he probably won't be on that team. So let's kind of move on here.
It's funny. You say it's his 8th year in the league. Like, he's 27. He was in the league at such a young age in Pittsburgh that normally you'd say a 27-year-old has a lot of tread left on the tires, yet Juju may not pass a physical for a team that has an interest in him just because of how beat up he is, his chronic knee issues. Just 29 receptions for 260 yards and 1 touchdown in 11 games last season. And for the Patriots, this is not like a cost-cutting move. They're going to carry a dead cap of nearly $10 million for this season and over $2.5 million for next season with this release.
Yeah, and they've got the room to make that move. And again, I'll applaud him for it, because if you're trying to build a team and this guy isn't part of your long-term future, he can't help you win games right now. Is he a difference maker? Is he a receiver you game plan for? I think he's at this point just a guy. He's a guy that owes a lot of his career to Antonio Brown. He really does. Like, he put up great numbers there early on in Pittsburgh and still kind of riding that wave. Well, that wave may have come to an end here.
So that's a bit of news from today. We also heard out of Cowboys camp that Dak Prescott took the day off, a little ankle soreness. Don't expect to see him in Dallas's Week 1 preseason game against the Rams. Kind of a mess in Dallas. I mean, the Cowboys, just when you think you couldn't feel any lower about this team, if you're a Cowboys fan, you hear news like this, you hear Jerry Jones, and I know part of this quote was taken out of context. There's no sense of urgency to sign CeeDee Lamb, and CeeDee Lamb clapping back with an LOL. Like, it's kind of dysfunctional in Dallas right now.
Well, that's what Jerry wants, right? He wants his team in the headlines, and this is the way you kind of garner headlines, I suppose. I don't know the priority that the Cowboys put on winning. I honestly don't. And to me, I always thought, Danger, you couldn't afford to pay all three, or you got to be very careful. But I didn't think they'd be like 0 for 3 here. I thought they would have taken care of either Parsons, which you don't need to. He's still got a year after this, the quarterback, or certainly CeeDee Lamb. And the idea that you're going to have 2 of those 3 potentially entering free agency after this season? Like, for people that think that Dak Prescott always not going to get a lot of money, oh, no. Somebody will pay him a lot of money on the open market.
Yeah. We had a couple of preseason games last night. Our first chance to see Drake May in action. 1 series, 2 for 3. What do you have, 19 yards? Hard to take anything away from that. And we'll likely see more of him through the course of the preseason. The Patriots and the Panthers, and then you have the Giants and the Lions. A couple of notes from the Giants-Lions game. One, Drew Lock leaving early with a hip injury. Our guy got the majority of the snaps, Gino. Our guy. Tommy DeVito.
He's still around.
They got the win. The Giants topped the Lions 14-13. 2 touchdown drives for Tommy DeVito because he's Italian.
14-13, 14-3.
I'm sorry. Did I?
Yeah,
Did I misread?
Patriots 17-3 last night. There's just some gross football scores. Tonight you've got NFL Network with one. Houston and Pittsburgh 7:00. I'm sure they're going to bounce around here. Atlanta and Miami. You've got Philadelphia and Baltimore. And the game for the Bills tomorrow, I kind of like the Saturday afternoon, but you realize, how tomorrow lines up. It's a great sandwich you have around the Buffalo Bills, meaning, all right, Danger, yes, I do like soccer when you get to the World Cup level. I do like soccer when you're talking about the Olympics. This has a lot of sizzle to it. Can the United States actually, in this redemption tour, finish it off and win the gold? They're playing Brazil. Except the old lady. This is going to be her last game. Marta.
Oh, wow.
Marta. Remember Marta?
Yes.
She's 38, and she got a red card, apparently, in the group stage, which means she had to serve a 2-game suspension. She's coming back. She's already said this is going to be it for her. So this is Marta's last game. And if I could say things that we missed opportunities on here in Rochester, New York, I would say that would probably be kind of at the top of the list there.
Now, I'm trying to remember. Was Marta and Abby on the same team?
No. Marta was only here 1 year. That was 2011.
I remember Marta being here.
Abby didn't come till later because they didn't have the rights. But you had, you had the Pink Princess, you had Christina Sinclair. You had so many players on that team, and Marta being arguably the best in the world, okay? And so that's got some sizzle to it. That's at 11 o'clock tomorrow. Then you would figure, barring there's no mystery time or penalty kicks or anything like that, you'll get to the Bills on time at 1 o'clock. And then following 1 o'clock, it's 3:30 is the tip time, but I think maybe by that point you don't want to watch Bouchel or whoever's going to be quarterbacking at that game. You flip over to the men's final in basketball, 3:30 tomorrow. The United States taking on Victor Wembanyama in France for the gold.
Okay. I have thoughts on Team USA, Gino. I mean, we were watching the end of that game in real time here in the studio yesterday afternoon, and admittedly I was fairly distracted while that was going on. So I went back and watched the final 5 minutes of that game, and I have thoughts on
Okay.
what that game was that was fairly spectacular. I don't want to diminish what happened yesterday for Team USA. I know a lot of people will immediately say, "Hey, they should be winning these games by 50." Sure, but that game was fantastic.
Who was everybody pulling for in that arena?
Oh, everybody's pulling for Serbia.
Yeah, not the United States. Let's put it that way. Other than the Americans that made their way over. Okay, you're always, and it's not an anti-American thing. It's you just go to any NCAA tournament game. You're always pulling for the underdog. Serbia being the underdog. So that was a tough road game, and I agree with you, Danger. And I have a take on this as well. I'm going to actually soften my stance on LeBron. Do you realize he had a triple-double yesterday?
He had a triple-double. Steph Curry saved Steve Kerr's job again. I mean, Embiid was clutch down the stretch over Jokic in one instance. I mean, I guess my point is you could say, yeah, they should be winning these games by 50. What I loved was you saw the best players of our generation working together as a team, overcoming these adversities. And Serbia played the game of their lives. I mean, they were unconscious for most of that game. It took Team USA getting a little pissed off at the end. You could kind of tell they were getting a little bit fired up, and it's almost as if like it took 95% of the game for them to wake a sleeping giant. And when they woke up with a giant roar. It was I'll say it. That was the best Olympic basketball game I can remember ever watching.
Most exciting.
I mean, when I say best, I mean, yes, overall, like entertainment-wise.
You mean you didn't like Charles Barkley running over the guy from Angola back in the day or whatever that was?
Yeah, that was interesting. We'll see whether or not they can get that gold against France. Look, at this point, you can't choke against France. You cannot choke against France. So I would anticipate that they would go out there and handle their business.
See, tomorrow I'm going to feel kind of guilty because if I'm watching sports from 11 a.m. to 6 o'clock, kind of wish we had the weather today that we'll have tomorrow, Danger, because they would at least have an excuse, like, get through the yard work.
Well, tomorrow we've got action at Highmark Stadium, Gino, and
yes, we do.
We're both going to be at the game. I'm going to be taking it in as a fan. You're going to be taking it in, kind of working and no, I'm sorry.
No. I'm home. Like
you're taking it in from the comforts of your home, which is for you a rarity.
Right. I'll be watching and live tweeting.
And so I guess I'm curious, and you can jump in on this as well at 866-4326. What are you looking for? What are you paying attention to tomorrow? I mean, me, selfishly, of course I'm going to be paying attention to what's happening with the Bills, but I'm also I'm jacked to see what Caleb Williams looks like in his first NFL action. Albeit in the preseason, I want to see what that all looks like.
I want to see who's playing when. Okay, that's kind of it. If you see somebody you're familiar with in the third or fourth quarter, you're allowed to think, uh-oh, what's going on here? Maybe not this week per se, but certainly as we get to the Carolina game, that's always the tell. Like, what are you doing out there in the second half? But I'm curious to see where the receivers are lining up, who is going to be playing at safety when the two starters are not out there, because it will tell me, all right, this is what we have here. What am I hoping for? I think Joe Biscaglia said it best yesterday. Don't get hurt.
Right.
Don't get hurt. And there is that risk here. I'm curious if you see enough out of Josh Allen and the starting wide receivers, is that it for the preseason? Oh, you got these new receivers,
I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I think they'll get time against Pittsburgh. I think very much like last year, how they perform against Pittsburgh in week 2 will determine how much we see them in week 3. Hopefully, you don't have to see them at all in week 3.
Well, maybe that's what we back everybody's mind. Like, hey, do you really want to be out there against Carolina? The week 3 of the preseason. The answer is no. All right, then just go out there and
handle your business.
Right.
Look sharp against Pittsburgh, which they didn't do last year. You remember last year? I mean, everybody thought, wow, they looked bad against Pittsburgh in the preseason. They really looked inept, and it was clear that they needed to work on some more stuff. So they took that third week of the preseason, played a few series, and got out of there.
But if I had to say, this is the rare instance. I shouldn't say rare. It was a little bit when Indy came through last year, but I want to see what Caleb Williams looks like. I want to see how the ball comes out of his hands. I want to see if he has any pocket awareness. Sometimes, hey, first whiff of trouble, and quarterbacks know, step up, slide to the left, slide to the right. No, I'm taking off. And usually the young quarterback will do that. Will Caleb Williams have that pocket presence? Will he step up? How does the ball come out of his hands? Will he look like what the Bears invested all this for? Danger, I'm trying to get you excited. But by the way, you're going to the game.
Yes.
You're like, how did you pull this off?
Well, I know that there was some talk on the street that I wasn't going to be able to attend this game.
I would never put anything past you, ever. So
there was some talk on the street that I had some plans. We had some plans. The family had some plans. The family still has some plans. I was able to modify those plans with some intense negotiations and work away where almost everybody in the scenario is pleased with what we've come up with. And I will be at the game tomorrow, yes. Now, the big question for me is, do I dare wear a Bears ball cap? Ball cap. I'm not wearing a jersey. Too hot.
No. You should wear the Bears Peterman jersey.
Not wearing the Bears Peterman.
High fives. No.
No, it's not even the right number, and everybody knows it. It's no.
Not everybody would know it. No Bills fan would be like, that was the wrong number for Peterman. Honestly, I wouldn't have a clue. What number was he? I have no idea in Chicago.
It was 14.
It was 14. I remember
the jersey is 2. Yeah. And I think Master Stroke and Master Stroke Jr., who plotted and schemed a way to get me that Peterman jersey off the back of a truck, didn't care about the details. Just remembered, oh, yeah, he was 2 in Buffalo. Let's go ahead and do that. He's still looking for work, right? He released by the Saints. Nobody's picked him up yet.
I keep checking.
Yeah. Keep refreshing your feed.
I don't think he's done, though. Yeah, I did think about this, though. The day he announces his retirement, are we bringing back Master Stroke one last time?
Oh, I don't need. Do we need to wait for him to retire to bring back Master Stroke? Is that the only thing that's going to allow him back into the sports bar?
I thought you banned.
He was banned for being right. We don't want him in here being right all the time. We want him in here being wildly inaccurate and being wrong. That's the beauty of it. This is why we have Master Stroke. That's why Howard picks the Bills. You don't listen to that because you want him to be right. You want the emotion to carry them, and you want them to be wildly inaccurate so you can point and laugh. Like, what were you thinking? Nathan Peterman was going to go into the Chargers and compete against them in L.A.? No, that wasn't happening.
Yeah, I think that if Master Stroke, see, this is what I'm concerned about. If we brought him on, you know what he'd be like. Oh, the Bills, they're going to cover. Arizona is trash. Okay, that
didn't make you nervous. Make you a little bit nervous, right?
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, I know that as we inch closer and closer to week 1, and you look at that schedule, you can kind of like, as we have more and more data points with each passing day of the preseason, you kind of like start to predict, all right, is that a win? Is that a loss? Is that like, what does that game represent when that happens? Where do you think the team is going to be? What do you think is like? For some reason, I look at that Seattle game where they have to travel west to play Seattle. I'm like, that might be a sneaky loss for the Bills, where you wouldn't expect them to lose that game because of it's Seattle. That might be a sneaky loss for the Bills.
I think the Colts is the sneaky loss.
Yeah.
I think the Colts, like, okay, a little no, they still can play a physical brand.
What about the final week of the season with New England? Like, I know New England isn't good, but that last week of the season, either the Bills have a playoff berth sewed up and nothing to play for, and New England beats them because it doesn't matter. It's a game that's a 0, or that game means something, and New England rises up. I mean, like, and that's their Super Bowl. Like, oh, God. That for some reason, like when you look at the schedule now and you kind of like think how this could all play out, these different scenarios come into play, and we're a long way from that Week 18 game. We're a long way from what they'll look like when they face the Jets on Thursday night or that first game against Miami. But it's a fun exercise to do as we continue on through the preseason here. in that regard, I would love to have Masterstroke on just to give us his predictions for the season.
All right, maybe we'll plan on that. Maybe Peterman in the interim will hang it up.
Yeah, Masterstroke. And now as I'm thinking about it, maybe I will wear the Peterman to the game tomorrow. You know, some goodwill. You know, let you know, hey, you know what? I understand the suffering. I think we all can rally around the suffering of having that guy on your roster. Bills fans, Bears fans, we all know what that feels like.
You kidding me? You would get laughs. You would, because the way we kind of look at Peterman now here in Western, you're like, oh my gosh, look how far we came. Josh Allen backed up Nathan Peterman.
For a half.
Sean McDermott, week 2, was upset. There was an edict from above that said start Josh Allen over Nathan Peterman.
Yeah, he wasn't happy. I remember that press conference. He was not pleased. He was very upset at the outcome of week 1. They got embarrassed week 1 against the Ravens that year.
That was the easiest survivor pick ever. Was that 41-3 or whatever?
I mean, all you have to say is, who's starting? Nathan Peterman? Yes, that'll be a lock. We'll take that. Insane. It's insane to think about where they were versus where they are. And now, you know, Josh Allen, viewed by many as the second best quarterback in the league, viewed by many as elite, and certainly, I mean, Von Miller said it best. He's Captain America. He's the mayor of Western New York. He's running things. So you want a leader? That's your leader. Mm-hmm. That's your guy. Speaking of Von Miller, we had an unbelievable conversation with him here as camp wound down earlier this week. And we wanted to make sure to get that to you. If you missed it, we will replay our conversation with the Bills' future Hall of Famer, Von Miller. Coming up next in the Sports Bar, Danger and Taglia. You can pull up a stool at any point at 866-4326. And our coverage of Buffalo Bills training camp this year brought to you by our friends at Ace Swim and Leisure, Chili Ave and Ridge Road and Webster, aceswim.com, and by Maddie's Motorsports with locations in Farmington, Spencerport, and Dansville, maddiesmotorsports.com.
You're listening to the Sports Update.
It begins tomorrow for the Buffalo Bills as the Chicago Bears come to Western New York. 1 o'clock the kickoff. Our coverage on the Fan Rochester will begin at 11 a.m. In the league today, the Patriots releasing Juju Smith-Schuster tonight. 3 preseason games. Atlanta is in Miami, Houston's in Pittsburgh, Philadelphia playing at Baltimore. The Yankee game tonight in the Bronx, that has already been postponed. Texas the opponent. They'll make it part of as a doubleheader tomorrow. Twins leading Cleveland, the only game in the majors right now, 3-0. They are in the 5th. Rochester Red Wing game tonight, still on. The Wings are out in Buffalo. Sports brought to you by GetMyPerks.com, where today you get half off to Lasertron in Henrietta. For this and other great deals, log on to GetMyPerks.com. Gene Battaglia in the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan Rochester.
Pull up a stool and join us. 585-866-4FAN. 866-4326. The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
Welcome back into the Sports Bar. It's Danger and Battaglia. We are live from St. John Fisher University, Buffalo Bills training camp, another session in the books. It's not often we have a future Hall of Famer joining us here in the Sports Bar. Von Miller is making his first visit in the Sports Bar. How are you today, Von?
Howdy, guys. I appreciate you for having me. It's the dog days of camp, but we're loving it for sure.
Yeah. So, Von, are you back to feeling like Von Miller?
Are you tired of answering that question?
I mean, I always felt like Von, but as far as, health-wise, I'm feeling better. I'm not thinking about my knee all the time, able to move and do all the things that I normally would. And it's just back to focusing on football and not necessarily the rehab of getting my knee healthier.
Talk about that a little bit, because everybody says when you have that kind of an injury, there's a mental component to it as well. You've been through it. You have a teammate, playing behind you, Matt Milano, who's going through it this year as well. How much does that factor into your ability to play and recover from that injury?
That's just part of it, man. And I love playing football, and I'm a historian of the game, and injuries like these, they happen. To all the great players. If you look at all the Hall of Fame, we had the Hall of Fame ceremony this past weekend. If you look at it, all of those players that are in the Hall of Fame have had some type of season-ending injury or have had some type of adversity that they had to overcome on the field. And that comes with it when you play a long time in a football, 14 years playing a child's game. And, you just kind of surrender to the outcome and understand that, you're not really in control. And I would love to go out there fresh off of ACL and have 14 sacks like I did my 4th year in the league, but that just didn't happen for me. And I was able to be patient and really have a new appreciation for the game, not getting any sacks, making 3 tackles for the whole season. I'm my biggest critic, and I know I can play better than that, and I know I can play at a healthier Von can do way much more than that. I don't think that they could have kept me off the field last year. I think if I could play at any capacity, I wanted to be out there, and that's what there was last year. And, a year removed from that and being a whole lot healthier and going through a off season where I'm not just doing rehab and OTAs and really just focusing on football, I think it'll pay off for me this season.
Yeah, it's a new season. Von Miller, our guest, 2024. It's actually a game week here. We got the Bears coming up on Saturday. Von, do you need any work here in the preseason?
I'm all for whatever coach wants, man. I'm a coach's dream. I'm not gonna fight him. I'm not gonna fight him on that. But I practice extremely hard. The more years that I play in this league, I understand how valuable practice is. I practice harder now than I ever practiced when I was younger, running to the ball and doing all that extra stuff. Those are things that I never did when I was young. And I practice harder now the older that I get. In every situation that we have out there, whether it's one-on-ones or whether it's third down or whether it's first and second, any situation that I'm in, I put myself in the game. That's the only way I know how to look at it. It doesn't feel like practice to me. It feels like live bullets, and I just practice that. So whenever it is for real, I can execute in a way where I'm comfortable and I'm used to it. So if it's, I don't think putting on shoulder pads or putting on a game jersey will make it even any more real for me in the stadium. Like, I practice extremely hard and I attack situations like they're for real. So, like I said before, but if coach wants me to play, I'll play whatever they want. It's only so much tread that I got in these tires too. You don't want to spin it during the preseason for sure.
Well, Von, through the years and hearing you speak and talking to you right now, you're an optimistic guy. I want to kind of go back to the root of where that stems from. Where did that come from for you?
I think being a 205 pound defensive end going into Texas A&M, I think that's what you got to have. that's the only way I know how to look at life, whether it's on the field or off the football field. You know, I look at best case scenario. I'm not the negative self-talk guy. I don't talk negative to make positive things happen. I see best case scenario, and that's what I aim for. And if that hits for me, great. And if it doesn't, it's going to be somewhere close to that. And you know, referring to last year, I wanted to go in and I wanted to play and I wanted to have 15 sacks and do all of those wonderful things, but you know, that just didn't happen for me. And I'm my biggest critic, and you know, I came here to deliver and close games, and you know, that's still on my plate, and I still hold that to a high standard, and that's my job, and you know, I want to get that job done. I want to see that job through, and I've attacked this off season like that. I've attacked my rehab like that, and the next chance I get, that's what's going to be on my mind every single time I'm on that football field.
Yeah, Von, what can help you and help the team? The defensive line, your teammates there. Give us kind of an overview what you're seeing so far with a lot of guys returning and also like a newcomer in Dwayne Smoot.
What's so great about the NFL is that you have turnover each and every year. You know, the salary cap is just an undefeated monster in this league, and that's what keeps our league competitive. If you look at the stats of the league last year, I think 90% of games were decided in the fourth quarter, and I think another high percentage of that was the game was decided within 7 points or less. So the NFL is extremely competitive. Any team can win, and that's because the turnover that you have and the new guys coming in and the old guys coming out and old guys going to other teams. And you got to rebuild each and every year, and it's not the same each and every year. And that's what keeps this game competitive. You got drafts coming in, you got the draftees and the rookies coming in, and it just keeps everything fresh and new and competitive. And that's what has happened to us. And you got to have great coaches. You got to have great leadership on the team, you know, to be able to keep the standard what it is and not let the standard fall. And that's exactly what we have here.
Vaughn, you got guys out there competing for their jobs at this stage of camp. Things get a little bit heated. We got a little chippy today. We saw Andy leave the field. Notice Josh doing a little bit more chirping at the end of that skirmish there. Is he, from what you notice, is he more vocal? Have you seen or heard him more vocal this year at camp?
I don't think he's been more vocal or less vocal. I think what makes Josh great is he's Josh. You know, he's not going to let the situation be bigger than what it is, and he's not going to let, you know, small situations be smaller than what it is. He attacks each and every day like Josh Allen. And he's the leader of this football team. He's the leader of Western New York. You know, he's the savior here. He's Superman here. He's like Captain America here. And, you know, he holds that standard to a high regard, and, you know, he wants to win games and he wants to lead the football team. And whenever you see a guy leading in that way, me being on defense, I'm like, hey, wait, it wasn't intentional. But at the same time, you know, he's a leader, and you know, it doesn't matter if it's our defense, other teams' defense. He's going to be that same Josh. And again, we've seen him do that in real games as well. So it's just Josh Allen, man, and I love being his teammate for sure.
Yeah, Von Miller, our guest here. You've been on a championship team in Denver with the Rams. Loaded question. Well, like, what do you think has to happen here to get Buffalo in that position, Von?
You know, all those teams, you got to have a great quarterback. You know, this league revolves around, you know, quarterback play. And secondly, you got to have great defense. And we have the makings of both of those things. Got to be able to create the short field. It doesn't matter if we have, you know, big-time receivers or big-time safeties or big-time players. It's all about playing as one. It's all about playing complementary football, and we have the guys that do that. Defensive line is a tip of the spear. I think Greg Rousseau is going to have a huge year. I think A.J. Epinesa is going to have a huge year. Ed Oliver is our shooter. You know, I can expect double-digit sacks from Ed. He's been close this year. And I think it's his time to shine. You know, he's ready to go. He's ready to be a premier defensive tackle in this league, and he's attacked this offseason and this training camp like that. So defensive line is a tip of the spear. We got Matt Milano back and TB. Those are Chiefs inside. Secondary, we're able to lock down anybody with Christian Benford and Rasul Douglas. And, you know, our safety's a little bit banged up, but we'll get the guys ready to go. T-Rap has been on a Super Bowl team as well. We played together with the Rams. He knows the standard. He knows what it takes to win games. And we're going to be solid on defense. And as long as we can get short fields back, and if we can lead, you know, the league in takeaways, be top 5 in takeaways, you know, we'll be able to create a short field for Josh and give him, you know, multiple chances on shots on goal. And it's Josh Allen. He's going to put it in there. He's going to come through. We just got to give him a shot.
Vaughn, you mentioned AJ. You mentioned Greg. You've been here through part of their development, the early stages of their career. Do you consider yourself a mentor to those guys? And how much does their success mean to you as a teammate and as somebody that's been alongside them?
I mean, I wouldn't say a mentor, man. I'm not trying to show them anything. I just like to be that voice on their shoulder, man. I like to be that you know, that consultant. You know, I speak the same language as them. You know, I'm watching them through the same lens if I were Greg Rousseau, if I were A.J. Epinesa. I'm not watching them like Von Miller on what I would do. I try to put myself in their shoes, and I try to attack it in that way and really coach them up on how to be the best versions of themselves. So I wouldn't call it a mentor. I'm not, telling them things that I would do. I just try to be a voice on their shoulder and just give them that assurance that, that whatever they want to do, just go do it. Their confidence. Really just try to build up their confidence, and that's really been my role, especially these last 2 years. And that's not just for AJ and Gray. That's for all the guys in the defensive line room, even the coaches, just to, give them that assurance on, whatever they want to do, I'm riding with them 100%, and I got their back on whatever choice they make. And, like I said before, the defensive line is the tip of the spear, and if we can have a great year, I think the team will follow.
Von, you mentioned how you're a historian of the game, and we're coming off the weekend where we had the Hall of Fame ceremonies. Do you ever allow yourself to think what that might be like someday?
I mean, I've been to I think 4 Hall of Fame ceremonies. I saw Champ Bailey go in, Mr. B, DeMarcus Ware, and Peyton Manning. So
nice.
I think actually being there and you can just feel the energy on what it takes to become a Hall of Famer. And, I just reflect not only in my career, but all of their careers and what they did to make them Hall of Famers. And, I'm still playing football now. So it's not about that for me right now. But whenever I'm there and you can't help to think about it. And right here, I'm still trying to build. I'm still trying to add to my legacy. I'm still trying to win Super Bowls. And I'm still trying to solidify my Hall of Fame application. And, that's where my mindset is at now. I still got a lot of sacks to get. Each and every sack that I get, I'm able to pass another Hall of Famer. Dwight Freeney had, I think, 125 sacks. I'm at 123. So that's another great that I'll be able to pass just by doing my job and doing my job for the Buffalo Bills. So I'm focused on doing my job, and all the other stuff will happen for me when it's due time.
Von, we also hear about players who struggle after their playing days are done. We've heard you say that you'd like to be a GM someday. What do you allow yourself to look like? What does the game look like? What does life look like for you after the game?
I thought about this some, but not much, man. I'm still trying to be the best football player I can be, but I can imagine it raising chickens. I got a chicken farm in Austin, Texas, Greener Pastures. Chicken is non-GMO, humanely raised, USDA certified, Texan, all the certifications that you want out of high-quality birds. We have that, and I can see myself doing that as well. I always have a passion for football and building great teams and finding great players. That'll always be there, and if I get an opportunity to do that, that'll be something that I would love to do. But right now, it's all about winning Super Bowls and trying to be the best football player that I can be.
Last one, Von. Von's vision. Tell everybody about that and how that all got started.
I've always had glasses issues and eye issues my whole entire life, and this is just my way to give back to the community that has given so much to me. I didn't want to have a football camp or something that was cliche. I wanted to have a foundation or a charity that was me, and started Von's Vision back in 2012. And, to this day, we've been able to help, I think, over 40,000 kids and raise a whole bunch of money to put glasses and contacts and give kids eye exams that they need to be their best versions of themselves in the classroom. So all about giving back, all about raising chickens, all about finding the next best talent. And, I appreciate you guys for having me.
Yeah, Von, thank you for making time for us, man. Stay healthy this season.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Von Miller, who joined us earlier this week live from Buffalo Bills training camp at St. John Fisher University. Sounds like Von has a little bit left in the tank. Doesn't seem as if we're going to see Von as an every down pass rusher. You don't want him out there every down, but as a specialist, as somebody that you hope can still get after the quarterback, Von is, dare I say, Von is back? We saw moments. We saw moments during camp.
I think you have to recalibrate a little bit, but can you get him there 5 to 7 sacks? Will we sign up for that right now? Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you would sign up for that. And sometimes they be in key spots here. I think if you're looking at the two defensive ends, A.J. Epinesa and Greg Rousseau, who we also had on during camp, he's a really good run defender. People don't give him that credit. I look at Epinesa being a key here. Epinesa, who year by year kind of inches his way up. And last year was having a really nice season. Then he gets dinged in the Kansas City game, and I don't think he was ever quite right after that.
He's been kind of growing, too. He feels and looks like he's a bigger dude than the second rounder that they drafted out of Iowa. Like he's kind of grown into the role of pass rusher, and he's a disruptor. I think he might not be the guy that gets double-digit sacks, but he is the guy that can disrupt a play with relative ease. We saw it a lot last year.
Yeah, and the X factor, maybe we see him tomorrow, DeJuan Smoot, the former Jaguar, who has had a pretty decent camp and by all reports had a decent spring, but can he be the fourth guy in this rotation here? The defensive tackles tomorrow, I don't think we're going to see Daquan Jones. And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but it is a little concerning, the groin injury, and this happens to every team. There's going to be these soft tissue injuries, but the groin for Daquan Jones has been something that has cropped up. We also talked to Daquan Jones earlier this camp, but that gives an opportunity to Carter, the third-round pick. I'm curious to see what he'll look like next to Ed Oliver. I would assume Carter would actually get the start tomorrow.
Bold take from Von Miller there as well, that this is the year that you'll see Ed Oliver take that another step and be one of the elite defensive tackles in the league, a double-digit sack guy. I mean, look, Von Miller playing with, Aaron Donald at the time that he was in L.A., I mean, is there stuff that you can take from his time in L.A., apply to Ed Oliver's game? Can Ed Oliver take yet another step? I mean, last year's best year as a pro, is he putting the work in the offseason to take that next step?
See, Ed Oliver, part of it is where you got drafted. And in the process going in, do you remember the year the Bills drafted Ed Oliver? Well, the Bills were in that top 10 position because that was Josh Allen's rookie year, and it didn't go so great. I think it was 6-10, that record. But heading into that draft, there were a lot of mocks that had Ed Oliver number 1 overall.
Yeah.
So what do we talk? Like, if you put it in that prism, has he lived up to that? That's tough to live up to.
Mm-hmm.
Has he been a productive first-round pick for the Buffalo Bills? Of course. But do you want a little more? Yeah, of course you do.
We'll get to some takes. I'll drink to that coming up. I'm mesmerized because behind you, Gino, they're doing some construction work in the former studio. This guy is the contractor we have working. He is a wizard with the putty knife and the joint compound.
Yeah,
he is. I'm mesmerized at the job he's doing. In my wildest dreams, I could not do the kind of job that he's doing right now. It's just, I mean, look at that. Flat, no seams. He's not going to need to even sand that. It's going on smooth. No sanding necessary.
This is guy talk at its finest.
No
joint
sand.
compound.
Yeah, no sanding necessary with this guy. He's a wizard.
These guys have been great to work with because I thought, okay, for sure. When we're back in the studio after camp, you're going to hear bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
They've been, like, at our end of the building, they've been getting the work done before we hit the air at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, they've been great. And I'm just mesmerized by the work he's doing with that joint compound right now. He's got that mud going on flat, and I don't think they're going to need a sand at all. That's amazing work. I'm going to revisit yesterday's U.S. Men's team victory over Serbia. I'll say it. That's the best Olympic basketball game I think we've ever seen. And I'll tell you why. And we'll get to that.
Ooh. Can we bring up a week 1 pick, the slow rollout for our picks week 1?
I'm ready.
Some shows will do this. No. Now's the time we start kind of thinking things about. And this one, a divisional game, and I look at the line, I'm like, this is fishy. There's a reason it's fishy. All right, well, we'll talk about it.
All right, we'll get to that and more next. And I believe you have a camp story that somebody's going to come in and share coming up here next hour. It's not a camp story?
No, it's not a camp story, but Derek the pizza dude, we call him, kind of a character in the background, right?
He's one of our guys.
He's fantastic.
Can't do it without him.
Fantastic. Like, we're lucky to have him, right?
Can't do it without him.
He tells me this story about the show.
No.
I'm not even going to tell you what it's about, but I'm going to tell you, you are going to find this hysterical.
Okay.
Me, not so much.
I'll get to that and more next. We're in the sports bar here, Danger and Battaglia. Your calls are always welcome at 866-4FAN, 585-866-4326.
You're listening to the Unadulterated sports. You've come to the right place. 95.7 FM, The Fan, Rochester.
Back in the sports bar, Danger and Battaglia. All right, I put it to the poll, Gino. I can't in good faith feel 100% confident in donning the Peterman unless I know I've got the people behind me to wear the Peterman Bears throwback jersey tomorrow.
This is going to be like 80 to 99% wear the Peterman jersey, Danger. Look, who is going to say don't wear it?
Bear fans maybe would say don't wear it. Is it a pox on Caleb Williams' career? Is this a negative? I mean, really, it is kind of me straddling the line of my Bears fan and my Bills.
It's perfect.
It really does kind of straddle that
yeah.
line, doesn't it? Yeah, maybe I'll have to sport the Peterman. So if you see me at the game tomorrow, don't be a stranger.
That would be funny if you see Mike Danger in the throwback road bear, which that's a sweet,
it's a good jersey.
That's a sweet jersey. The throwback. They should make that their permanent.
I hate their orange jerseys, that orange alternates that they wear. The orange helmet's hideous, but the throwback that have like the Michigan helmets and those
so
are nice.
This is the throwback road jersey, and again, if you see Nathan Peterman number 2, that is Mike Danger. I'm going to say this. There's not going to be a single person other than you wearing a Nathan Peterman jersey, number 2 for the Chicago Bears tomorrow.
I'll be with my my youngest daughter, Lexi, her first ever Bills game.
Oh, she know what she's in for here?
She has no idea. She's only heard what she's heard from her sister. And so that's the crew tomorrow. It's going to be a blast. I can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun. Kick off the preseason. You'll be able to hear the action on the Fan Rochester. Our coverage starts, what are we saying here? 2 hours before pregame?
Yeah, 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock and then 1 o'clock for the kickoff from Highmark Stadium. I'll go ahead and say it. Yesterday was the best Olympic basketball game that we've ever seen. I don't know can you name one that was more memorable than the comeback against Serbia in the semifinal of the 2024 Paris Games?
Before our time, the controversial United States-Soviet Union. But again, I've only read about that game. But if somebody lived through
Did it really happen? I don't know that it really happened.
It was 1972. It did really happen.
Yeah,
fake clock and everything.
I mean, were you born in 72?
I was 1.
Oh, you were? You were around?
So I was around.
You don't have any recollection of that game?
No.
I don't know that it happened, Gene. It happened before my time, so I'm sure it didn't happen.
So, if you're talking to all time, I'm sure. But as far as in this new world of professional athletes playing Olympic sports, this would be the best.
We were watching yesterday afternoon in real time while we were here in the studio, and granted, we're distracted, man. I mean, we got stuff going on, and we're pulling up audio, and we're posting to social media, and we're writing, and we're always trying to be prepared for you. And so we're watching, but we're distracted, and we're watching, and we're like, oh boy, these guys, they look in trouble. Serbia's putting it to them. They're out physicaling them. They're shooting the lights out. They're popping off. Jokic is making everyone around him better. Bogdanovic is a witch. And then you saw in the fourth quarter, the Avengers woke up. KD pulls Team USA within 5, and Embiid getting a clutch bucket and 1, backing down Jokic, hitting a fadeaway to bring it within 2, D'ing up with a block down the stretch. LeBron driving it with 3:40 left. Are you not entertained? Steph Curry out there hitting threes and free throws, saving Steve Kerr's job again. They're up 3 with under 2 minutes to go, and honestly, this game is a national treasure. I'm glad that we had the chance to take it in live yesterday, Gino. But if you didn't, or if you were like us and you were watching it distracted, do yourself a favor. Go back and watch the game. The best players of our time playing together as one, getting angry, staging the comeback. Sure, you could say that they should win every game by 50. But against Serbia and those final 5 minutes, that was pure electricity.
Did Steve Kerr, during one of the timeouts you're losing, say, guys, we lose this game, we don't go home. There is a bronze medal game. You would still have to play one more. The consolation game.
What would the motivation be if you're Steve Kerr? You guys don't really want to play another game for bronze, do you? What? Jason Tatum, barely seeing the court. It's just insane to me. It's insane.
Now, is that going to be a storyline next year with the Celtics and everything? Does that get brought up? Not that the Celtics and Warriors will play each other more than the 2 times, but I'm just curious if that's going to.
I think there's a grittiness to what they had out there on the floor against Serbia down the stretch with LeBron, with Embiid.
That's all true, but
KD was an assassin when you needed him to be one.
For the first 3.5 quarters, they were walking around like they didn't care. That's the honest truth. The
Yeah.
body language was terrible. Serbia wanted it more, and then they realized, oh my gosh, like this is you don't want to be the team that goes down.
I don't know if this is what did it or not. But Serbia was popping off, man, and they were popping off not just to Team USA, but like to the fans that were like Carmelo's there, and they're like John with Carmelo. And I'm like, I don't know what woke them up, but something woke them up. Somebody from Serbia said or did something that pissed off Team USA.
Well, what ended up what you're right about that, because then while they're going on the run at the end, Curry hits the and one, and he goes over to the Serbian bench. Yeah,
he's popping off.
Yeah, and they're not saying a word back.
Yeah, it was just electricity. It was great, and I will say, to my eyes and to my experience, that was the best Olympic basketball game that I've ever seen.
Week 1 matchup, Danger. Ready to pick one? Houston at Indy. Ooh. Colts are plus 1.5 at home. Easy, right? Houston was playoff team last year. Houston, the trendy team. You're only giving up 1.5?
Yeah.
What gives? Hey, this is where I slam on the brakes. Whoa.
I like Richardson, man.
Yeah, like if you're just talking the ESPN FS1 talking heads, of course, Houston's the better team. They've got the better quarterback. They've got Diggs. Did we forget Indy was 1 drive away, like 20 yards out from winning that division against Houston without their quarterback? Now they have him back. The Colts would have won that division. Divisional games, Danger. They are so fun to open the season. And I'm going to take the underdog Colts, getting the 1.5 at home against Houston week 1.
This is a good one. We're keeping track of these picks, so I've got to make a pick here.
In my terrible handwriting. just to kind of review, the first game we had Bengals in New England.
You took New England.
9's a lot. 9 is a lot. And for the record,
9 times.
There is no retroactive picking, meaning say there's an injury to C.J. Stroud and that's going to go the line. No. We are picking this as today, like we're putting in our bet today. So the line today, Indy at home getting 1.5. Will Mike Danger agree with me?
Indy at home, 1.5. Boy, we're not touching this for Survivor. I can tell you that. I am with you on this one. I like Anthony Richardson a lot.
Wow.
I like Shane Steichen a lot. And it's not a knock on Houston. It's not a knock on C.J. Stroud. It's not a knock on D'Amico Ryans. But the Colts were good. They were sneaky last year. They did what they did with Gardner Minshew. I mean, they did it without their starting quarterback, without the plan. If Richardson's healthy, and you believe he would be healthy week 1, yeah, I think the Colts at home get off to the 1-0 start. That feels right. All right, we're going to take a break and come back. Pizza Dude is coming in.
Pizza Dude, who brought us pizza yesterday.
Oh, God, it was so good.
Oh, hit the spot.
Intern Zach said that was the best pizza he's ever eaten. Now, I don't know how much pizza he's eaten in his life.
I think Zach has lived a sheltered life.
We've exposed him to some
things. What's a Reuben
things.
sandwich?
Never had a Reuben.
Yeah.
Never had a Reuben sandwich until training
Yeah,
camp.
like never enjoyed different styles of pizza and see if you intern for us.
Yeah,
that's one of the perks of radio. You get to eat.
You can live the high life by eating all this food and going to these events. So Pizza Dude comes in next. A story that he's going to share with us that I'm not aware of. But we'll also, in the 4 o'clock hour, revisit our conversation with Buffalo Bills center Connor McGovern from earlier this week, which I thought was a fun conversation. Nice to get to know him a little bit more as he transitions into this new role in the Bills' offensive line. So that's coming up here next. Your calls are always welcome at 866-4326-585, 866-4FAN.
You're listening to the Sports Bar. Streaming online and in the Odyssey app at The Fan Rochester. The sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan Rochester, an Odyssey sports station. The Fan Rochester Sports Update.
Preseason begins for the Buffalo Bills tomorrow, 1 o'clock from Highmark Stadium. Our coverage of The Fan Rochester will begin at 11 a.m. News from the NFL today, the New England Patriots releasing veteran wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster. 3 preseason games tonight. Atlanta is in Miami. Houston is in Pittsburgh. Philadelphia is in Baltimore. The Yankee game tonight in the Bronx, that has been called off. Texas, the opponent, they'll make it up as part of a doubleheader tomorrow. Just one game in the majors right now. The Twins leading in Cleveland. They're in the 7th. Minnesota 3, Cleveland 2. The Red Wing game in Buffalo still on. In fact, the weather clearing up there as the Wings continue their series out west. Sports is brought to you by GetMyPerks.com. Get half off today to Lasertron in Henrietta. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan Rochester.
Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia.
Preseason is important. Going through warm-ups and the energy that comes with playing a game in front of fans.
24 hours until the preseason opener, Bills Bears.
Mike Danger. I think there's always a cautious optimism around this team this time of year.
Gene Battaglia.
We've got football tonight.
Usually preseason games, you're like, bubble wrap everyone, just get to the other side and be healthy. I want that, and also I am excited to see what the on-field product looks like.
95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
You know, nobody cares when you're right, but yeah, it's looking like I'm going to have to wear the Peterman tomorrow. I mean, this is a landslide. The Peterman Bears throwback jersey for the preseason opener tomorrow. Wardrobe has been selected. Okay. Welcome back into the Sports Bar. It's Danger and Battaglia. Glad you're with us to kick off your sports weekend here on the Fan Rochester at 95.7 FM, AM 950. The free-to-download Odyssey app, your smart speaker. When you ask it to play 95.7 The Fan. Pizza Dude's in the studio, and when do we have a day that we're going to kind of change how we do our video stream? Because you can watch us now on YouTube. You can watch us now on Twitch. We've got our YouTube channel and our stream up on Twitch at twitch.tv/The Fan Rochester. But are we taking the bold step and following the footsteps of the greats like Jim Rome, who are also streaming their show now on X?
Yeah.
That's happening?
Yeah, hopefully Thursday, as long as you get me the password and the login.
Oh, I can get that for you, yes.
Yeah.
I'll remember to get that for you. That's kind of important, I suppose.
Yeah, that's the biggest hurdle right now. So.
You're hearing Derek the Pizza Dude. He is our Director of Technical Operations. I got your title right and everything. We can't do what we do without this man. He was instrumental in making sure that we were set up every single day at Buffalo Bills training camp at St. John Fisher University. And when you're there, I feel like you have a little bit more access. You can kind of blend in to the crowds, and you can overhear things and kind of observe things that most people wouldn't observe. If I were to make a comparison, you're kind of like, remember the movie The Breakfast Club? I know you're a big film guy.
Yeah.
You're like the janitor in The Breakfast Club. Not to say that you're a janitor, but his role in that movie is like, I see everything. I know what you guys are talking about. I see what you throw out. I see who you're talking about. I see everything.
Well, he also knows people, too. He deals with a lot of people that we don't, like technical people. And you're telling me this story about one of these guys that was he knew us. He knew you as being the pizza dude.
Yeah, so I deal with a lot of outside vendors. You know, I'm very forward-facing. Like, you'd be surprised how forward-facing the position is.
Uh-huh.
But we were getting renovations on our internet at one of our transmitter sites.
Uh-huh.
And one of the guys from Frontier, he called, and he was trying to set up a time, and it didn't line up. And then he goes, "Wait a minute, what is this?" And I was like, "Oh, well, we're Odyssey, we're 95.7 The Fan." And he said, "Wait, you know Danger and Battaglia?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Oh, I listen to Danger and Battaglia every day near the end of my workday." He goes, they're not done with their show by the time I'm done with work, but I listen to them from 3 to 5 every day."
So this guy from Frontier.
This guy from Frontier.
Okay.
Huge fan of your guys'. And he's like, "I understand you're busy. You guys are at Bills camp. So whenever you have a free time, we'll set it up." So flash forward to last Monday. And we set up a time. We meet out there. The entire time, it's me, this guy, and another Frontier guy. The entire time, the third person's doing the work, and this guy's just talking to me about how much he loves the sports bar.
Wow.
And how much he loves listening to you guys.
But then he's like, wait, you're the pizza dude. This is
Yes.
how much he knows. I'm like, you're Derek the pizza dude.
He knows who
Like,
you are.
He knows who I am.
Yeah.
He knows who I am. He asked about the Dandelion.
Uh-huh.
He asked if, he's, as weird as he is. Which,
Dandelion who comes to work and eats Cheerios for lunch every day. Yeah, he's a weirdo.
Hey, he also eats animal crackers.
Animal
Can't forget
crackers. I'm sorry. Yes. He's just still eats like a toddler. It's the weirdest thing.
So this guy, he then goes, I almost met Gene once. And I was like, oh, yeah? And he goes, yeah. So my daughter goes to Fisher, and she cheers at Fisher.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, yeah? And he goes, yeah. And he was there calling a basketball game. And I look over, and I saw him, and I got so excited. And then, it went to halftime, and he went to the locker room. I start walking over there, and then he comes out, and he starts talking to someone. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to interrupt him. And then this guy goes, then I saw my moment. And he sat back down. He put his headset on. I was going to walk over and just say hi and then introduce myself and tell Gene how big of a fan I was. I start walking towards Gene. He looks at me, and he goes like this.
If you're not watching the stream, he does the wave off. No mas, get away.
Shushes me away.
Oh, my God. Gene!
What did his wife say?
He said, I turned around, I slumped my shoulders, I walked back, and his wife goes, did you get a chance to say hi? And he goes, no. He shushed me away.
That is the most Gene story I've ever heard.
This sounds terrible. I feel terrible.
Well,
about this.
I think that, and look, and I think he probably understands this, Derek, and maybe you when you're in the middle of calling a game, when we're working, when we're on location, when I'm working with you, when we're doing high school Section 5 games, there's a lot of things that can distract you, and it's very easy to get distracted, but you have a job to do, and the job is not to comment on what's not happening on the field or on the court, right? That's what we're there to do.
Yeah, the headsets are on, and even though my mouth isn't moving at that point, I wish I could say I remember the date and time. I vaguely remember. That's why I feel terrible about this. I vaguely remember about this, and I probably just kind of gave the okay back. I didn't say go away or anything like that. I just kind of gave the back up.
He got shushed by Gene.
Well, I explained to him, Gene is a very intense person. You listen to him on the show. He's very intense, and, maybe he was just in the moment, and he was getting ready for an
No, but now I'm, thinking, maybe there is a problem. I do this because when I met Carlos, I didn't remember the first time I met Carlos.
He said you big-timed him.
Which I don't even remember, and Carlos was upset, and I bought him a Heineken, and we have a good laugh about it now.
What's the name of our Frontier guy?
Brian.
Brian. So, addendum to this story. I have family that works for Frontier. I don't know that they all work together or how it all works, but my brother-in-law Gary is also a Frontier guy. So I wonder if Brian and Gary are sharing tales out of school. But Brian should make it out to one of our next live shows so that Gene can make amends. I mean, that's only fair. It's only right and just.
This text you sent me, is this for public knowledge or no?
Oh, I mean, you can just don't say his name or number.
No, I'm not going to say his name or number, but it's ideas on how I could apologize. And this gives you an idea how much you listen to the show here. If he wants to apologize, tell him to do it 9 times. Also, Chuck Muncie would never do such a thing to his loyal fans. Just saying.
Wow. That's, he's an elite listener. He's got all of our inside jokes down. He knows most of them. That's pretty good. Apologize 9 times.
9 times.
Muncie would never. Muncie would never shush a fan away. Wow. That is... That Gene propped me up. He said, I'm not going to tell you what the story is, but that lived up to it. That was that's the most Gene story I've heard. And Gene, when I say that, don't misconstrue what I'm saying. I've worked with you alongside you.
Yeah.
You are intense. You are very, very passionate about your play-by-play. You're very, very good at it, and you take it very seriously. And it comes through with the product. You're great at it, right? And so part of that is being so focused and so dialed in that if a stray comes your way, you shush it out. I can't be bothered with this right now, even though it's a guy who listens to us every day.
I don't we don't have a job danger if I did that to everybody in Stiff Barnum, not now.
Brian, we'll make amends. We have to make a point to have Brian come out to our next live show.
So if I have ever shushed you or big timed you like I did Carlos or Brian, then I guess maybe this is I got to make amends with everybody.
It'll be the Gene Big Time Tour. Gino's Big Time Tour.
That's a big tab you got to pay off.
Yeah. Thanks, Pizza Dude.
Thank you, Derek.
Appreciate you coming in. Oh, thanks for all the help with the stream as well. That's going to be fun next week.
On X?
Maybe
I didn't know about this until today.
By this time next week, we should be streaming on X. So many of our regulars who engage with us on X, and you know who you are, at the Fan Rochester. Maybe YouTube isn't your brand of vodka. Certainly Twitch isn't for everybody. We get that. We want to give you as many platforms as possible to watch the sports bar as well as listen along at 95.7 FM, AM 950, and the Odyssey app.
We're not satisfied until we find 9 platforms. So we have 95.7 FM.
9 times.
950 AM. The Odyssey app.
3.
Okay. YouTube, Twitch.
4, 5.
WBEE HD2.
That's 6.
That's 6.
You forgot about the smart speaker.
Smart speaker.
7.
7. This is 8. I need one more. One more.
Maybe okay. Facebook Live. I mean, Facebook Live would make it 9, I suppose.
They've got some weird rules, though, don't they? Or something like that.
I just, the weird rule for me is I just don't like going on it. That's the weird rule for me.
Fair enough.
I mean, X has become that as well, but for a lot of different reasons. But I still go to X because I think X is still the sports platform. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
No, you're not. Can you watch the Bills game tomorrow and not have your phone next to you? You need not only, you want takes, you want to kind of see you're in the community.
Greg chiming in at the Fan Rochester, at Gene Battaglia. You do it to me all the time, but I deserve it. This is Greg who rolled up. Hey, guys, I'm right outside your window. Yeah, that's Greg, one of our regulars, Chuck Munchia Pet on X. You can hit us up at the Fan Rochester. Do we have more people joining the Gene Big Time Tour?
He was listening. Joining us here in the sports bar is Brian from Frontier.
Hey, Brian. Dude, thank you so much for listening. Thanks for calling in. This story is peak Gene Battaglia. I'm so glad that we're able to share it.
I'm hanging my head in shame, Brian. How are you today?
Well, Gene, we all have our moments in time, and my moment was shattered, when I walked up to say how I'm a big fan, and I just was shushed away. And the worst part of it is, when I went back to sit down, my wife goes, "Did you say hi to him?" And I go, "No." She goes, "What happened? What did you do?" And I go, "I didn't do anything."
And Brian,
I don't think he likes me.
Just to confirm, you're not a toddler. You're a grown man who Gene Battaglia shushed away as if he was a toddler. You're just like, "Not now, child. I have work to do. I'm a professional."
It was literally that way. It was just if he had a white glove, it would have felt similar to that of a slap.
Oh my gosh!
Oh man,
this is terrible. I'm ashamed of myself.
Well,
that's okay, Gene. I figured you're a total. You love your job and you're very enthusiastic about it, and you just don't have time for peasantry.
Well, we'll make it right, Brian. The next time we're out live.
Yeah, how do I make this not right with you, Brian? How do I make amends?
Well, there's always liquid affirmation that will help quench my thirst.
Does your daughter still go to Fisher?
She doesn't. She graduated last year, so she does not go to Fisher. But I would see you there when you would do the games, and I'm like, I should go talk to you. And I never got up the courage, but I'm like, you know what? This is a blowout game. I'm sure you'll want to say hi, but I got shot down.
Now, Brian, I'm going to speak a little out of turn here. I know Frontier is a big company. My brother-in-law, I think, does what you do for Frontier as well. Do you know Gary? Cirillo?
Absolutely, I know Gary. Gary is him and I, as soon as we met each other, we hit it right off.
That's
So,
my
yeah,
guy.
I do know Gary.
All right. See, now we're one. Yeah, now you're family, Brian, okay? Not only do you know my brother-in-law, but you listen to the Sports Bar, and Gene big-timed you. So we've got so much in common. You're in the family.
I'm connected.
Yep.
I am connected. I'm part of the DNA Sports Bar.
Yep.
All right, so Brian, you know how we were at Three Heads during football season. We're planning some things now.
Yeah.
Please come out and allow me to make amends.
I will, and I'll make sure that I'm very thirsty when I get there.
Brian, appreciate it, man. Thanks for the call. Sorry about
love
Gino.
Your show. Love your show. I love listening to it. I look forward to 3 o'clock. And the funny thing is, I just turned the radio on when you were talking about it. I'm like, wait a minute, is this about? And it made my Friday.
Well,
put it that way.
A pizza dude, telling tales out of school here, but I think that was a tale worthy of being on the air, Brian. And thanks for sharing your thoughts with him and for following up with us this afternoon. And let's see you soon out there at our next live show so we can make amends.
Go Bills.
Got it, buddy.
Thanks, Brian.
There's Brian. Just the latest in the long line of people that Gene is big timed.
Do I have to kind of? I didn't tell you this story too. I did this to Anna Tokarski of the Amherst.
We've got a running list going.
I know.
We've got a running
and
list going of people who feel that they've been slighted by you, big timed by you.
I was over at the Amherst office talking to Chad Buck, talking off-season stuff. This was
Sure.
a few weeks ago. And saw our boy Mossbrook's over there.
Uh-huh.
So we started talking baseball, whatever.
Another weirdo who
Yeah.
eats like a toddler.
Yeah. And so she the cubes there are kind of low, but she kind of pops her head up, Anna does, and joins in the conversation. I'm like, oh, hi, I don't think we've met. I'm Gene. Looks at me like, yeah, we've met.
Oh, no.
Nighthawk. I'm like, oh, my gosh. And so Moss Brooks, what is he? Doesn't miss a beat. Hey, you just got Bobby big time. I'm like, I have a problem.
I can't speak because I know that I'm not a saint, and I know that there are probably people out there who have either similar stories or, I don't know why mine haven't surfaced the way yours have. People I think are enthusiastic to share the stories of getting big timed by you.
I shouldn't be big timing anybody. That's the point.
Neither of us should be. Ever.
No, but it's like sometimes I'm aloof. That's all.
Well, I say this about myself all the time, and I say it with more frequency as I get older and older. I'm just not that bright, guys. I'm sorry. Like if I slip on something, I'll be the first to admit it. I am not that bright. If I look back and trace my family lineage, we weren't a smart clan. We're not that bright.
Yeah, and I would my defense would be, you know how Danger says I'm a misfit with the Mets and everything? Well, I'm trying to grow out of that. Trying.
Yeah, I'm a bit of an airhead. I'm not that bright. If you knew my family, you would kind of, not my wife's family, they're smart. My family that has all passed on. If you knew my lineage, it would all make sense, and you'd be like, okay, now I understand why he is the way he is. So that's my excuse. I'll own it right up front. But for some reason, Gino, people love sharing their stories of how you've big-timed them. And we've got a running list going.
Now we're up to 3.
Don't forget about Greg. He's in the peasantry. He just reached out to us again to remind us that instead of divorce court, the peasants are a part of peasantry court.
Greg, I did not big-time Greg.
When did you
No, I remember the first time I met Greg. Because he was interacting with us, and then he came out the one time. So
Chuck Muncie gear on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Greg.
like Greg is a veteran. He's salt of the earth guy.
You know, we started by saying with Derek the Pizza Dude in here how we can't do it without him, and the truth is we can't do it without you. We can't do it without, if you want to take Greg's term and gloss and gloss yourself the peasantry. I'm not saying that. You're our regulars here in the sports bar.
Okay, so Chris, thank you. The gloat of the sports bar coming to my defense. I can honestly say, Chris in Kentucky, I've never been big time by Gene. In fact, he first introduced himself to me at a live event at Three Heads, and I didn't turn him away. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah. No, but we do have a list going, and Brian is the latest on that list. Fantastic.
This is a vendor, too.
And
like
let me tell you, dude, he knows my brother-in-law. If you know my brother-in-law, then we're family. Like he's one of us. I'm sorry. We just adopted Brian into the sports bar. He listens every day. He knows my brother-in-law. I mean, normally when you get to be our age, you're like, yeah, I don't need more friends. No, we're accepting Brian. He's one of us. He's in.
Yeah.
He is in.
No, I think I'm not that way. I think having more friends is great. I'm not trying to tighten the circle here.
You're not trying to tighten the circle?
No, I'm trying to change. If I can change and you can change,
yeah,
we all can change.
That's from the inferior Rocky movie, Rocky IV.
That's from the. I'm proud that you knew where that was from.
That's from
and
IV. That's inferior.
That is the best one because that captured the moment.
Yeah, that movie is just one gigantic montage. It's not a movie. It's one gigantic montage set to Robert Tepper. It's not a good film. Rocky III is the film you need to watch. That's the one if you're going to watch a Rocky movie. Say, woman, you need Mr. T. You need Thunder Lips.
No, running up the mountain, Drago.
Yeah,
Drago,
that's what I'm saying. It's one gigantic montage.
Right.
Does not hold up. Doesn't hold up. 3 holds up.
Come on, when he's speeding through in his Ferrari or whatever he's driving there, and there's no easy way.
Terrible. It's just one terrible montage after another. 3? Yeah, you have some training montage. There is no tomorrow, Rock. There is no tomorrow. Say, woman, you need to get with a real man. Come on. That's Rocky 3. That's the movie. Get that sentimental stuff at the end. We can all change. Okay. Appreciate that, Brian, and thanks for all you do. Brian's one of those guys, my brother-in-law Gary, one of those guys, and a lot of people who listen, making life livable for the rest of us, doing the work that they do. Thank you so much, and we appreciate you listening. If you missed our conversation from earlier this week with new Bills center Connor McGovern, we'll get that for you next. We'll replay that for you from St. John Fisher University earlier this week at Buffalo Bills training camp. Happy hour is around the corner, and we will get you ready for tomorrow's kickoff. The preseason, week 1. The Bears are coming to town. We'll update you on the Peterman poll as well. That's all coming up here on The Fan.
Sports Update.
Preseason begins tomorrow for the Buffalo Bills. The Chicago Bears, the opponent. Our coverage from Highmark Stadium on the Fan Rochester will begin at 11 a.m., kickoff at 1 o'clock. From the league today, the Patriots releasing wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster. 3 games in the NFL tonight. Atlanta is in Miami. Houston is in Pittsburgh. Philadelphia is in Baltimore. With the threat of rain from Debbie, the Yankee game in the Bronx tonight, that has been postponed. Texas, the opponent, they'll make it up as part of a doubleheader tomorrow. One game in the majors right now, the Twins at home leading against Cleveland. They're in the 9th. Minnesota 4, Cleveland 2. Rochester Red Wing game tonight down the Thruway is on. The Wings are in Buffalo. GetMyPerks.com today can save half off to Lasertron in Henrietta. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan Rochester.
Straight up with no chaser. You're in the sports bar with Danger and Battaglia on the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia back live from Buffalo Bills training camp, St. John Fisher University, joined today by Buffalo Bills center Connor McGovern. Hey, bud.
How you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Can't complain. Just done with practice. 1 day left here at St. John Fisher. It's a great day.
I was going to say, spirits seem high today. You've got perfect weather, and you have that one last practice here before it gets real, right?
Yeah, I think last year it was like gloomy day, a lot more fights because people were like, oh, we're going to get through one more day. Come out today. It's not humid. Sun's out. Beautiful. I think everyone was just in a good mood.
Yeah. Connor, for our audience, may not know the story, new position this year, but it's not really
new.
Right. So tell us, I can't use transition, but in the sense that you were at right guard or left guard last year, how is that moving over now to center?
So it's good. So technically I got drafted as a center to Dallas. Then after my rookie year, the coach changed. I got switched to guard. So then in the last 4 years, I've been at guard. Got up here last year, played left guard, but still, if anything happened, I would move over to center. And then once Mitch left, Ryan Bates was out too. So then just that natural transition right back to center.
Was that something the Bills talked to you about during that process, that you could potentially be the guy that slides over?
Yeah, so when I signed here, I knew eventually I'd be center. Once Mitch left, that I would be going to center. It just didn't see it, just like how everyone else didn't see it coming like how it did this offseason with Mitch.
Yeah, I mean, crazy stat is that Deion Dawkins, he's been here for a while. Every single year, you know the stat here. He hasn't had the same left guard for consecutive years.
Yeah.
So
I thought I was going to break that, and then all of a sudden, Mitch doesn't. Things happen that way. I'm like, oh, sorry, Deion, I'm not breaking that.
Well, how's it coming there with Edwards next year then?
Good. So the thing is, David, his first 2 years in leagues were with Cromer, so he knows that technique and everything else. Than having all last year under the same belt, and it's just, I think it's just more of a easy step in than last year where we had 2 new guards come in, and I think it's just an easier transition for everyone because we all know what we're thinking. We're all comfortable with Cromer's technique, so I think we're on a good foot right now.
And if any fans had any nerves about the changeover, on the offensive line, you mentioned Aaron Cromer. How much of an advantage is it to have a guy who might be, if he's not, he's one of the best offensive line coaches in the league?
I think that's a huge advantage. Once everyone buys into his technique, and luckily we all see the game the same way he does. I just think that helps us all. Like, especially you see every time me and David come out the sideline, we're instantly next Chrome talking about different stuff we see, and just see how we all see the plays together. And luckily, we all mesh together too.
Yeah, Connor McGovern, Buffalo Bills center, our guest. Connor, if there was one game we could isolate from last year and say, oh, that was the game for the offensive line, just see if we're still on the same page. I have my answer in my mind. What would
you
be
want
your
to say
answer?
it on 3? I think.
Okay, let's do it.
1, 2, 3.
Dallas.
Dallas. What was that like being out there against the Cowboys in that fashion?
I don't think there was a happier person in Western New York than Connor McGovern. I was just, it couldn't have been, it was just great to go against the old team and then win it that way. It just, from the first drive, what was it, the 3rd or 4th play of the game where we all grouped up and pushed the ball an extra 7 or 8 yards. Then we finished a touchdown by pushing the pile in again. From right then, that first drive, we knew we won the game.
Connor, talk a little bit more about that, because in that game, man, it seemed like you guys had another level, another gear Was it so much your performance, the line's collective performance as a unit that day, or was Dallas coming in a little bit? It felt like they were maybe coming in a little bit worried about the weather, a little bit worried about the elements. Does that factor in?
I don't think so because it wasn't really that bad. It
Right.
was raining during the day, but then by the time kickoff started, it was like a drizzle. So like we knew we wanted to run the ball just because there was wind. Because in the stadium there, it's always windy because it's underground. But we came in and wanted to run the ball, and we were able to do that and just stayed on pedal. I don't even think Josh had to complete many passes. I don't even know how many he did that game. He had less than 100 yards, I think, right?
Yeah, I mean, was that?
But like
that wasn't the plan going in, right? It was like, hey, this is working so well. Let's just keep doing
we're
it.
like, well, let's just stay on the grass. And Joe Brady does a great job at seeing what the offensive line wants and what Cromer wants. And we're like, all right, these plays are working. Let's just keep with it. And they couldn't stop it. And I think we got pulled with 11 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and I've never been pulled for a good reason that early. And I we almost had 300 yards at that point, so if we would have stayed in, I think we would have easily eclipsed 300 yards.
Well, can we talk a little bit about the depth on the line? Because now you've added a vet like Lale Collins.
Yep.
Alec Anderson feels like he's brought a different level of intensity to practice. You got the rookie in
That's an
Van Frank Granger. Yeah. Is everyone meeting expectations so far this summer?
I think so. Just the way everyone came in, I think everyone's buying in. Like, even the new guys that the guys got here, like, I spent my first 3 years with Lyle Collins. So me and him we have a connection before that, and that helps a lot with understanding, or he's asking questions I can help him out with because I get it, come from different techniques. Come to Cromer, it's a little bit different. So, like, being able to help him and Will Clapp that don't see everything the same way. And then transition, I would say this great group of guys, all the veterans, helping the young guys. Sometimes you're on groups where the older guys are like, oh, they're coming for my spot. We're not going to help them. And it's all about, all right, if I get hurt, who's going to step up? Like, so you're teaching the young guys, and I think it's a great room just to be around right now.
Connor McGovern, our guest here, we've heard it from Sean McDermott and Brandon Bean over the years that it's important to be away at camp for one reason, to team bonding.
Yes.
As an offensive line, what are you guys doing to kind of bond together, knowing that you got to trust one another here?
Yeah, I would say it's all different things. Like, so guys at night are playing ping pong together. They're playing card games. They're playing poker. They're playing the new NCAA together. We're doing dinners on off nights, just stuff where we're always together and around each other just to build up that team chemistry. And then instead of just being the offensive line together, we're bringing in other groups, and now offense, defense. Like, I've been around groups like in other teams where it's, oh, the offense just hangs out with the offense, or defense with defense, where it's like almost cliquey type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Here, I would say it's all three phases of the team are all together. Like, the entire team is one team.
Connor, we got to talk about the uncomfortable part. The uncomfortable part of our conversation is that center to quarterback exchange.
Yep.
You've probably talked a lot about it throughout the course of the offseason here. How important is that here for you and Josh to get reps, not just through OTAs, not just through training camp, but also here in the preseason? How much time do you guys think you're going to get out there?
It all depends. I think last year, the first preseason game, the Stars got one series, and then expanded each game after that. And it's always important to get snaps like that, and just because it's different. It's like in the spring, you can practice all you want, but it's not live. It's not as fast. Put the pads on here at camp, it's a little bit different. But then once you get to the live actual bullets, it's even another step up. So I think it's important just to get a few of those snaps in. It could be 2, 3 this week. It could be 2 series. We don't know yet. So.
Is too much made of that? Is it such a thing that you've done so many times that muscle memory just takes over? Do we make too much of that?
I think so. It's a little bit on both parts, but like Josh for the past 4 years been used to Mitch. Mitch has a different snapping style. Like, a lot of people don't see that from the outside. He snaps it over his left butt cheek. So Josh has been used to the past 4 years getting snaps on the left side. So, and I'm used to snapping like directly under center. So just slowly working him back out, and we're finding where each other are comfortable with and just gelling from that. So first few days, live pads came on, and we're just feeling each other out. We had it figured out in the spring, but again, that's not live reps. So then I think we're at a great spot now, and we're very comfortable with each other.
Connor, we are
Penn State.
That's I mean, have you ever been on a team? I would imagine
with this many guys.
Yeah,
no.
right. You've
and
got
not even just the team. You got the staff members. You got coaches that used to be at Penn State. Then Mr. Pagula.
I think he might have a type. I might be wrong on that, but I think if you went to Penn State, you might be Terry Pagula's type.
Yeah, I think so. Just a great group of guys. It's nothing like being a Nittany Lion.
Expanded playoffs this year. How you feeling? What's your projection?
I think so. I think it's good that you got all the Pac-12 teams coming to the Big Ten now. I think that's going to be a nice challenge. I don't know who the whiteout game this year is, but I think it'll be good. Maybe Washington coming over to Penn State, but I think if we could stay right around that 9 to 11 spot, I think we'll have a good shot. And then just play through on the road. Maybe if we bump up, because I don't think we play Michigan this year at Penn State. So if maybe we creep up to like the 6th or 7th spot, get a home game. I don't know who in late November, early December is going to want to play in Happy
That's
Valley.
right. Yeah, that'd be a tough one.
Yeah, we talked to KJ Hamler earlier in camp, and he was playing the video game where he already won the Heisman and the championship at Penn State. Have you dabbled in that at all?
I have not. I love video games, but I'm not a sports video game. When I'm relaxed and playing video games, I like to disassociate from football, so I have not gotten into it.
Give me some
myself.
titles. Give me some titles. I'm with you.
What do you want to know? I'm a big FPS kind of guy. I love single-player games also, so I'm playing everything.
You're a Call of Duty guy.
Call of Duty's all right. I'm more different aspect. Like right now, like as it gets closer to the season, I'm more of like a single-player game. Like Elden Ring's new DLC just came out, so
There you
playing a
go.
lot of that. That's going to take me a little bit to get back into because it's such a hard game. Red Dead 2 is always a classic.
Yeah, you like the RPGs.
Yeah, like during the season, like that's my time to like I could just pick it up for 2 hours, put it down, and like because if you're playing FPS during the season, you're constantly got to play, and I don't have that time.
Yeah.
And
Connor.
especially with a newborn at home too.
Oh, tell us a little bit about that. How old?
Just turned 3 months, so she's already getting big.
Got your hands full.
So, literally, yes.
Is your wife getting sleep?
Not right now, not as much. So at least if I'm home, she could pass her off to me. But so that's why most off days I go back home, try to help her a little bit. But she's pushing through right now.
Yeah. Do they come up to camp? Do you get any time here? Like that?
They came up one day, but it was just hard. It was really hot. It's hard for her. But that's why most off days I go back just to see her and see the family.
Best gift you've ever received from a quarterback?
For Christmas or just gift in general?
Yeah, just a gift in general for being the guy.
Yeah. Josh last year went above me on. He got each and every one on the O-line a customized Rolex. That was, yeah. That's hard to beat. Like,
because your kids will do this to you someday, Connor. They'll start planting the seeds. Maybe not in August, but you start planting the seeds now with Josh.
No, so last year Josh was going to go one way, and Dion kind of put the foot down. And he's like, all right, we want something really nice this year. The year before, I think they all got like custom scooters and stuff.
We saw Dion whipping around here in his scooter.
Playing the music and everything, yeah. So Dion wanted to top that. He's like, oh, we've been playing better than the year before. He's like, playing the like I know what you're saying, almost like this little kid. And Josh surprised us all with Rolexes.
I think our hope for this upcoming season is that you guys have the kind of health this season that you had last season. Have you ever been on a squad that was able to stay healthy and start all these games?
Like I've been on squads that have been able to stay healthy, but not all guys. What was it? So every single game.
Almost every snap.
Yeah. So I think it was besides one series where Dion was out with his hand. Other than that, we've all been together. Like I've never been a part of something like that.
Yeah, we got a game on Saturday. Hard to wrap our mind around that.
I know.
Have they told you, given you an idea how much time you'll see out there?
No, not yet. I think as over the next 2 days, we'll start to figure things out. Over the walkthroughs and other smaller practices, we'll start figuring things out.
Well, Connor, it's great to spend some time with you. Thank you for making time for us after practice here. Love everybody's in a good mood, and camp is winding down. Glad we had the chance to catch up with you before you guys head back to Buffalo.
Perfect. Thank you for having me.
That was Connor McGovern Wednesday on set with us at St. John Fisher University as Buffalo Bills training camp was winding down. Y'all remember Wednesday. Wednesday was perfect, man. It was sunny, 75, low humidity. Spirits were high because everybody knew, like, all right, this is our last real practice before we get back to Buffalo. And Connor McGovern was gracious with his time to join us, tell us a little bit more about his role. And we learned a little bit more since that conversation, namely that he and the starters will probably play about a quarter of football tomorrow.
Yeah, that's something to kind of look forward to. And I think you mentioned this in the interview, like the idea you had that continuity last year was until week 18 where Deion Dawkins had to miss a couple series, but he popped back in there. Boy, that's the first key, right? If
Knock on something,
knock
because
on something.
that is that's a rarity, and they were able to power through the entire season with no injuries. I mean, like that's a hard thing to duplicate, and you can hope that they replicate it again this year. And there's some fresh bodies in different places, but we'll see. More than anything, I'm just glad we got the chance to meet the guy. You know, last year, his first year in Buffalo, we kind of knew what he was, but the guy's got a great personality. You could tell he's got his stuff together, and he reminds me a little bit of what we know of Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Just kind of a fun-loving guy that's, takes his football seriously, wants to win. He's a competitor. Big dude, too. Big dude. Departure in personality from what they had in Mitch Morse. Mitch Morse was like the dad of the offensive line, right?
Mitch Morse won a Super Bowl with Patrick Mahomes. Mitch Morse kind of, a little more elder statesman, but still in the same way. Just very clear, smart. It is same type of leader there.
All of the regulars, Gino, are coming to your fence on X right now. I mean, this has got to make you feel good. If you felt bad about stiff-arming Brian while you were doing your job at St. John Fisher, I mean, everybody coming to your defense, including Yacht Rock John. Saw Gene yesterday at training camp. Very gracious with his time, chatting with my wife and I. Both of you guys were the first to promote Yacht Club on a sports talk show. Love the show. We love Yacht Rock. I mean, what can we say, John?
Yeah, and your wife keeps you in line there, John. That was also good. You were on the air yesterday, so I'm like, John understood.
Yeah, John, I would have loved to come. I saw you over there, and glad I got the chance to say hi. I would have loved to come over and talk to you and Christine for a little bit there. Pete Polster of the sports bar. I've got to come to Gene Battaglia's defense. There's a difference between big timing and being on air. Gene is the hardest working man in Rochester. I say it all the time.
All I had to do now, I have thought more about this than you would believe. Derek told me this. I'm mortified. I don't want to be that guy, and I was that guy. All I had to do, rather than the stiff arm of the shoe go away, is just give the thumbs up and the nod. That's all I had to do. And then you would see, like,
how about one of these?
Yeah. Something.
Or just like hey, 1 minute.
Yeah.
Just give me 1 minute.
Yeah.
You did the double wave. Like,
no, I did.
Get away. You gave him a stiff arm.
I know exactly what to do because I did it to Derek. Derek was yapping during one of our interviews during camp, and it's coming across, and I gave him the, hey.
That's an aggressive stiff arm.
Yeah.
That's a broadcaster stiff arm that you gave. You gave our guy Brian.
Appreciate everybody coming to my defense there. And again, Brian, I'm sorry. I'll say it 9 times. And you're right.
You're probably
9 times.
You're up to like 7. We'll probably get a couple more in before the end of the show.
Danger. I wish we had audio on this because this is like take of the year worthy. A pop quiz. Is Bob Cousy alive? Celtic legend.
Oh, jeez.
Yes or no? The answer is yes. He's 96.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And
it's a full life.
Yeah. Not only is he 96, he's watching the Olympics. Bob Cousy, the Celtic legend, and he's got a take on Jason Tatum getting benched. Quote, and I have to clean this up. This isn't just a snub. This is an embarrassment for that kid all over the effing world. The Olympics have gotten that big. Everyone's going to think that there's something wrong with this kid. Somebody from Boston should stand up for this kid. In my judgment, this is just going out of your way to embarrass one of your players.
Wow.
Like, when you get to that age,
no filter.
No filter, and you don't really.
Yeah, you don't care.
You don't care.
Embarrassing!
I want to know what's more embarrassing: Tatum getting benched or break dancing at the Olympics.
Someone has to explain to me how that actually got. But if we have rhythmic gymnastics and the rock wall climbing thing, why not break dancing?
Well,
sure,
I'm watching the highlights, and many of you have probably seen it cross your feed. Some of the highlights of the Australian break dancer, and all I can think to myself is, this would have been great in 1984. In 1984, Team USA would have cleaned house. Like, you ain't stopping Beat Street. You're not stopping Breakin' 2, Electric Boogaloo, okay? You're not beating Team USA in breakdancing. And frankly, from what we've seen from our time as youths watching these fine pieces of cinema from the mid-'80s, what I'm seeing today does not hold a candle to the breakdancing of the mid-'80s. So this isn't breakdancing to me. This is flailing. This looks like convulsions. This doesn't look anything like breakdancing to me. I want to see breakdancing. If you're going to keep it as an Olympic sport, then let's get real.
The viral moment, it's not going to be that, right? It's going to be the Turkish shooter, right?
That guy was, that was pretty good. Old guy just kind of casually firing off his rounds.
No need for ear protection or the goggles or anything. I mean, in fact, I'm going to put my hand in my pocket, and I'll let you wonder if I do this for a living professionally.
Yeah, I've just seen so much of the breakdancing in my feed that I'm like,
I'll take the breakdancing over debates about boxing.
Yes,
I welcome this on a Friday.
Same. But if you want to know when you should have had breakdancing as an Olympic sport, we're about 30 years too late. We should have done it. No, 40 years too late. We're 40 years too late.
Right.
We should have done it in the mid-'80s. Mid-'80s, peak breakdancing, a little Breakin' 2, Electric Boogaloo, And now we're talking. Now, this doesn't look like breakdancing to me. Not to my eyes. Not to this broadcaster's eyes, I say. Happy hour is next. You can pull up a stool and join us at 866-4326-585-866-4FAN. We had some preseason football last night to react to. We've got some games tonight to talk about. And, of course, we have week 1 of the preseason for the Buffalo Bills coming up tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock here on The Fan Rochester. We'll get to all of it next on The Fan.
You're listening WNIBF Rochester, the sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan, Rochester. An Odyssey sports station.
The Fan, Rochester. Sports update.
Bills preseason begins tomorrow. Chicago, the opponent. Our coverage on the Fan Rochester will begin at 11 a.m. Kickoff at 1 o'clock. Patriots today releasing wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster. 3 games tonight in the NFL. Atlanta's in Miami. Houston's in Pittsburgh. And one other exhibition, Philadelphia, is in Baltimore. The Yankee game in the Bronx tonight, that's already been called off. Texas, the opponent. They'll make it up as part of a doubleheader tomorrow. Just one final for the majors today. The Twins at home beating the Guardians 4-2. With the weather clearing up to the west of us, the Red Wing game is on tonight. The Wings playing out in Buffalo. Sports brought to you by GetMyPerks.com, where today you can save half off to Lasertron in Henrietta. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan Rochester.
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia.
Preseason is important, going through warm-ups and the energy that comes with playing a game in front of fans.
24 hours until the preseason opener, Bills Bears.
Mike Danger. I think there's always a cautious optimism around this team this time of year.
Gene Battaglia.
We've got football tonight.
Usually preseason games, you're like, bubble wrap everyone, just get to the other side and be healthy. I want that, and also I am excited to see what the on-field product looks like.
95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
It's happy hour in the sports bar. We have Bills football to talk about. Less than 24 hours from now, kickoff 1 o'clock from Highmark Stadium. You'll hear the action with our coverage starting at 11 o'clock tomorrow on The Fan. Rochester, I'm Danger. That's Battaglia.
Yeah.
Been a fun afternoon so far.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And we have time for your calls here in happy hour. Our number again, 866-4FAN, 866-4326. It was today I learned, Danger. We're going to be getting another platform. I'm actually kind of excited. We're going to be on X.
Yeah.
Maybe as soon as next week here.
Yeah, that's for all of our regulars on X at The Fan Rochester. Another way for you to consume the sports bar. If you want to watch the sports bar as it happens in real time. And today would have been a good day to do it because you could have seen the hand motion that Gene gave one of our listeners. He kind of shushed him away, gave him the audio stiff arm there with his play-by-play duties at St. John Fisher.
Which I should have just gave a thumbs up or a 1 second.
Yeah, the 1 second I think would have been okay.
Yeah,
you would have missed that if you didn't watch the stream. I got to compliment my T-shirt today. I mean, you don't know what T-shirt I'm going to wear on a daily basis if you're not watching the stream. They like the Black Dog T-shirt, our buddy Evan, who was just in here.
Well, so the Black Dog T-shirt means you went somewhere where there was the Black Dog store. Where were you? Were you on Nantucket, Mike Danger?
No, this one was from Florida.
Okay.
I got this one down in Sarasota, but I got it because I originally my first Black Dog T-shirt I bought in Martha's Vineyard.
Wait a second, you were in Martha's Vineyard?
Yeah, we went to Martha's Vineyard for our 1-year wedding anniversary. Just Sandy and I.
Okay.
Pre-kids.
All right. Time out. Inferior island to Nantucket, but go on.
I'm not here to compare islands. I went once and I haven't been back since.
Well, there
that
you
tells
go.
you all you need to know.
That's all they tell. Yeah.
Honestly, not to disrespect your vacations, your choice of vacation spot in the summer. I don't think that area is for me. Like,
no, that's totally fine. Just like, okay, Florida, I could do. I can't imagine living there.
That's right.
Fine, yeah.
That's right. We went to Martha's Vineyard for our 1-year wedding anniversary, and we went on. A buddy of mine was like, "Oh yeah, you'll love it there. You'll love it there. You'll love it there. It's great. It's great. It's great." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." And it was nice. I liked it there. We couldn't really enjoy the beach because it was Labor Day weekend, and by then it was kind of like desolate, and nobody was really on the beach, and the weather wasn't really cooperative, and it was a little chilly. But I did see that he was telling me, "Oh, you got to go to the Black Dog when you're there. Go to the Black Dog." I'm like, "What's the Black Dog?" He's, "Oh, you love it. You'll love it. You'll love it." I go and I check it out. I'm like, all right, well, I'm here. I might as well buy a shirt. I might as well buy a T-shirt and buy a Black Dog T-shirt. On the back of it says Martha's Vineyard 2003, right? Because that would have been 1 year after I got married.
Gotcha.
And I still have it. I still wear it around the house. And the girls look at it like, that's terrible. That's a rag. What are you doing? Why do you? I'm like, there's meaning to this shirt. It's a very special shirt. I bought it on our 1-year anniversary weekend at Martha's Vineyard. I'm not getting rid of this shirt. You can't tell me to get rid of this shirt. I don't care how gnarly you think it is. So when we saw the Black Dog store when we were in Florida earlier this year, they're like, all right, it's time. All right. Well, as long as you're prepared for me to wear this for another 20-plus years, I will buy another Black Dog T-shirt. And they're not affordable. They're not like when you talk about T-shirts, it's like, okay, do I really? And, as I'm doing it, Sandy, I could see her seizing. Like she's like, really? I'm like, yeah, kind of meaningful. Got to do it. So.
Yeah, my son has a sweatshirt. The things are heavy, but you could say, okay, this is going to last 20 years or whatever.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. 20-plus years. I'll get 20-plus years out of this T-shirt. So Evan's stopping into the studio making that. And you wouldn't know unless you're watching the stream. Now, right now, we're on YouTube. We're on Twitch, which is great. But we know a lot of you engage with us on X, so we want to give that to you as well as a platform.
It's funny thing is like, Evan, hey, where are you from? Oh, I'm from Greece. I'm from Victor. I'm from Wyoming. I'm like, whoa, okay. So like, and you're stepping in the sports bar, like, did you watch Josh Allen? Yeah, I was there when I went to school, and
knew he was good.
Yeah,
when he was at Wyoming, always knew he was good. Knew he was going to go to Denver, but they screwed it up. I'm like, yeah.
That's the funny thing. That's the mark on John Elway.
John Elway's biggest regret as a GM, not drafting Josh Allen. He just said it in the last couple of weeks. And we brought it up to Brandon Beam when we spoke to him a couple of weeks ago at camp.
Who was it was it Paxton Lynch still?
I think they had just drafted Paxton Lynch.
Yeah, so look, what in his rookie season when you would have said, you know what, we've got our quarterback? Because if I remember about Paxton Lynch, he was the original I'm addicted to video game
He
guy.
was, that was the word out of Broncos camp, was that the kid couldn't put down the joystick and get his nose in a playbook. He was addicted to video games. He was sleep deprived. He just couldn't put it down. And look, I get that. I've been there. I know what that feels like. Luckily, you get older and you kind of mature and you realize, like, yeah, probably not good to stay up until 3, 4 o'clock in the morning and try and function the following day as a part of society. You still need to try and get your sleep, so you have to know when to put the joystick down and walk away. But that was a tough, a bridge too far for Paxton Lynch during his time in the NFL. And he washed out, and to the regret of John Elway. And by the way, Evan, not a John Elway guy. I mean, he should have left a long time ago. So I'm guessing Evan is a Broncos fan, being from Wyoming originally.
Broncos side note, they are going to start Jared Stidham. Bo Nix will come in after that. So apparently, Bo Nix isn't the third string quarterback. Yeah.
So the preseason depth chart is really just a kind of
nothing. It's a zero.
It's a zero. We did see some preseason action last night in the NFL, a couple of games, the Patriots and the Panthers. So how did Drake May do? 2 of 3, 19 yards.
Everybody's excited about the other kid, though, Milton.
Right.
Yeah, that's the funny part.
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
And then you had the Giants and the Lions.
What's the highlight of that? They couldn't get the marking right with the new system?
The new system, so what are they calling it? The Hawkeye technology, I think is what they're calling it. You got to brand it, right? It's not the chain gang anymore. Mm-mm. The chain gang still exists, but they're just there for aesthetics. They're not really going to measure anything anymore. And I think the problem with last night was they used it, but it took a long time. Like they didn't get the answer of whether or not they were short to gain. Line to gain.
Are we just doing this in the preseason to test this out, which I'm fine with, but wait a second. Are they really going to do this in the regular season? Which eventually they will, mind you, but
what I think is hilarious is this technology isn't new technology, right? Like if you watch tennis, if you watch volleyball, if you watch, like in and out is pretty easy to determine when you're watching a tennis match. They've got it figured out. They've had it for years. The NFL implementing a similar type technology to determining whether or not a play is short of a line to gain, and it took them like 3 minutes to get it figured out, to the point where Phil Simms is being cranky, cantankerous, old broadcaster. Oh, well, is it going to take this long during the race? Is it going to take this long? Why don't we just bring out the chain gang? You got a point, but this is
new technology and bugs and everything else. They'll work it out. They'll figure it out. But to your point, Danger, tennis, the U.S. Open, they were using that back in the 90s.
That's right.
Yeah. So
it's not new technology. It's just the NFL finally coming on board. And when they get it and they get it right, hopefully, it'll be great. And hopefully it's a little bit speedier than what they rolled out last night. But that wasn't the highlight for me from that game. The highlight for me from that game Our guy getting the majority of reps at quarterback. Our guy.
Were you talking about Daniel Jones?
No, Daniel Jones didn't play. He's still coming back from that ACL injury last season.
Drew Lock.
Drew Lock started. Yeah, Drew Lock left the game early though, a little hip injury. No, I'm talking about our guy Tommy DeVito. 2 touchdown drives. The Giants get the win. Of course, they get the win because he's Italian, Gino. DeVito's back.
I didn't watch a second of the Giant offseason on Hard Knocks, but, that's what you're missing, right? You want more DeVito.
Now, if Drew Lock's injury isn't said to be severe, his hip injury, but it is going to keep him shelved for a bit, and so the Giants may need to bring in another body at quarterback just through the preseason here.
Ooh, I have an idea.
No. There's a connection there. No.
There's a big connection. Wasn't the head coach his offensive coordinator for one shining year? Yes, that would be true.
Oh, boy. Don't say it. Don't.
Giant fans are like, no.
They can't go out and get Peterman. Don't do that to yourself. I mean, I don't want to give Daboll more credit than that. Daboll had to have known that 1 year, this guy ain't it. Me and him ain't going to work. It ain't going to. Don't do it. I know you just need a body. You just need a warm body.
You need a body, but somebody in the quarterback room watching film, being a football man.
A mind for football.
Yes.
Not an arm for football, but a mind for football. He'll be a coach someday.
And he smells good, too.
Yeah, he's got a musk. The musk of Peterman.
Not too often do you run a poll on X where 100% agree.
Yeah. So if you're just joining us here during Happy Hour, welcome into the Sports Bar. And again, thanks for watching along on the YouTube channel at The Fan Rochester, listening in the Odyssey app or your smart device when you ask it to play 95.7 The Fan. I'm going to the game tomorrow, and I'm torn. I'm mixed emotions, right? Because, I pull for the Bills. Obviously, we talk about them all the time. I would say easily I know more about the Bills than I know about my own team that I've been a fan of my entire life, which is the Bears. And the Bears are coming to town tomorrow.
Yeah, you should deserve credit because this was the team you grew up as a kid. You went to the old stadium as a kid. You're old man.
I've got unbelievable memories around this team.
You don't trade in your loyalties.
Right.
You can't.
I know that they've been a bad team for a long time now, and I hear it. I see it. I know it. And I don't like investing time in a losing product. But I'm, cautiously optimistic that they might be doing some things right. We're pulling for Ryan Poles, the pride of Section 5. We want the Bears GM to have some success. But I know, like I say, I know more about the Bills roster, the Bills team, than I do about my own favorite team. But it'll be fun to be at the game. And when debating wardrobe options for tomorrow's game, I'm bringing my youngest daughter, Alexa's coming with me. She's never been to a Bills game. This will be her first NFL experience.
Now, before I ask, order out, how many Bears jerseys do you own?
I own a lot, but I don't have a lot that are current.
But that's okay.
I have a Hester. I have an Urlacher. I have a Forte. And like I say, most of these jerseys are from a happier time as a Bears fan. I never invested in a Trubisky.
That's fine. When you go to the game, you will see Kelly and Thurman and Andre and Bruce.
Yeah. And somewhere I think I've got a Butkus jersey that maybe fell off the back of a truck that I've never really worn because it looks like it fell off the back of a truck.
Oh, it's like the Master Stroke special, wrong color and everything. Gotcha.
Yes. So, I've got a handful of Bears jerseys, but, like I say, they're kind of dated. I think the most recent one I might have is a Forte 22. Yeah, I mean, it's a nice player, but – and then there's the Peterman. Now, the Peterman jersey was a gift courtesy of one of our heroes in the sports bar legend Master Stroke and his son Junior Master Stroke.
Was it a gift or a gag?
I view it as a gift.
Okay.
When the Bears signed Nathan Peterman, these two heroes got me a Bears throwback jersey, white, with the Peterman nameplate. Not even the right number 2, because that's the number he was with Buffalo.
But he wasn't 2 in Chicago.
He was 14 in Chicago. He went from the Bills right to the Bears, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think there was an in-between stop there. I think when he was let go from the Bills, he ended up with the Bears. Am I wrong?
No. You forgot about those years with Gruden and the Raiders.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yep.
And Gruden liked that Musk as well. He's
yeah.
going to break down film. We're going to look at tape together. He's got a mind for the game.
I love this Nathan Peterman.
That's right. I forgot about the years with Gruden. But he goes to Chicago, and they thought it would be hilarious to get me a Peterman jersey, knowing that Nathan Peterman is part of the sports bar DNA. It's part of our history. I mean, there is no masterstroke without Nathan Peterman having the game that he had against the Chargers and starting week 1 against the Ravens with Josh Allen on the bench. What are you thinking? Anyways, I put it to the poll. There's a part of me that believes that wearing the Peterman Bears jersey could be a pox during Caleb Williams' first NFL action. I wouldn't want to be that guy. To be a pox.
Oh, no. Like Caleb Williams,
yeah,
injures his hamstring.
I would not want to be a pox by wearing the. I don't want that. I don't want that blood on my hands. Now, there's somebody, another sports bar regular, who I consider to be our uniformant, and I call him that because he has more jerseys and more memorabilia, and you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, like he's got like a separate room in his house, right?
Duffy has, I believe his basement is dedicated to all of his gear, all of his jerseys, all of his swag. And I asked him if there was a more appropriate jersey to wear to tomorrow's game than the Bears throwback Peterman jersey. His response is that jersey is in my life solely to wear to the game tomorrow. So it will be me wearing the Bears throwback Peterman jersey.
All right.
100% of the poll. I can't argue that. I mean, the people have spoken. I can't.
You know what's going to be funny? You're going to be walking down in the middle there, walking your way to Highmark Stadium, and somebody's going to go, danger!
Or they're just going to point and laugh, in which case I'm going to have to address that with my daughter. They're pointing and laughing because the Peterman jersey's a gag. It's a joke. They all know it's a joke. They're not really laughing at me, but we're all laughing together. That's what I'm going to explain to my daughter. She's not going to get it.
The funny part, too, and there's a part of, you know what Peterman's last game with the Bills was? It was against the Bears.
Oh, it was so bad. I was at that game.
That game, beautiful November Sunday afternoon, and like the Bills are just getting destroyed by Chicago.
Yeah, they were bad.
Yeah.
The Bears rolled. Jordan Howard was the running back in that game. I remember that game.
Yeah.
And Peterman was so bad in that game. We were I felt bad because I brought one of my neighbors, one of my buddies from the neighborhood who's a Bills fan, and I'm like, this is going to hurt because Peterman's starting and it's not going to go well. It's not going to go well for the boys.
But it went so bad that he was caught the next day. Caught.
Yeah, bye-bye. So that's the plan for tomorrow. Now, we'll have the game for you here on the Fan Rochester. Kickoff at 1 o'clock. Pre-game coverage 2 hours before kickoff. We'll be on the air at 11 o'clock, giving you all of the sights and sounds from Highmark. 1 quarter of play for the starters, according to Sean McDermott.
Yeah, and if it's 1 quarter play and everybody looks good, is that it?
Yes.
No, I'm talking
for the preseason? No, I don't think so. Joint practices in Pittsburgh tomorrow. Or I'm sorry, next week. Joint practices in Pittsburgh next week. I think you get a series or two. I would imagine at least a series against the Steelers.
Well, I from this standpoint, I guess I could agree. Get the work in now, and then Carolina. If you got tickets for the Carolina game, I wouldn't be counting on Josh Allen on the starters that game.
I think it depends on how they perform against Pittsburgh.
Who was it? Was it Brownie? Like this past week, like what happened in that game? Was it execution or just like preseason? What the heck do we care?
Yeah, they're ready to get out of there.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
we're done with this. We want regular season action.
Yeah. So a lot of the people are still back here on this team. So not all, but if they remember that, all right, let's just get some good work in. We don't have to be out there next week.
Handle our business so we can sit out week 3. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But I think next week with the joint practices, I think you probably see a series, at least a series. But a quarter tomorrow, get a good chance to see the starters, see what they've been cooking up. Bobby Babbitt will be calling the defense. And our first look at Caleb Williams. Is he as good as advertised? We'll get our first peek of him as an NFL quarterback starting for the Bears tomorrow. So that'll be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that, and I know a lot of people are looking forward to it. I think Yacht Rock John is going to be there. I vaguely remember seeing in passing here a message from him. So we'll be connecting with some of the regulars tomorrow at the stadium, Gino. Don't you worry.
Yeah. I'll be engaging on X tomorrow watching it, so taking tomorrow
For clarity's sake, I mentioned this last hour. Breakdancing is 40 years too late as an Olympic game. If we were going to do breakdancing at the Olympics, it should have been 84. It should have been Los Angeles. It should have been Dougie Fresh and the Get Fresh crew.
Dude, I didn't even know people still did this.
Should have been African Bambaataa and the Soul Sonic Force. Should have been Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. We should have had these guys out there as the soundtrack to a breakdancing competition at the 84 LA Games. Breakdancing in 2024, if this is as good as it gets, this is embarrassing compared to what we grew up on. We know what breakdancing looks like. It doesn't look like what I'm seeing in my feed from the Australian competitor. I don't know what this is. This is not it. We need Como D. All right. We need a soundtrack that's going to inspire greatness if breakdancing is going to continue to be an Olympic sport.
I'm learned today that breakdancing was a sport, just like I learned this week. Wait a second. Rock climbing is a sport? Rock climbing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's the history lesson there, okay? We want if you're going to continue, and maybe they introduced it this Olympic game so that in 4 years when it is in Los Angeles, we can get serious about breakdancing. But now, we're not going to dust off Grandmaster Flash to come out there and score the breakdancing competition in 2028. So there you have it. We got some action tonight as well, right? Some preseason action tonight?
Yeah, we've got 3 games tonight in the NFL. So we've got Dolphins, Falcons, Texans, Steelers. You want to watch Stephon Diggs in Texan gear.
Steelers are interesting, though. Russell Wilson, Justin Fields.
Yeah, that's the game they're going to show you tonight on the NFL Network. And there is one other, Eagles and Ravens, which that's weird to me because it was last year finally the Ravens preseason streak was snapped, and the Ravens are actually getting a point at home tonight. Which, wait a second, why?
Not betting the preseason. I will not bet the preseason.
No.
I'm writing it on the chalkboard 100 times. I will not bet the preseason. I will not bet the preseason. Don't tempt me. I will not bet the Ravens.
No player props.
I will not bet the Ravens. I will not bet the Ravens. Staying away.
No. The story from yesterday, Danger, was the U.S. Olympic team, right? And the men and how they just came back and how exciting that was. But yet the story has kind of veered off in another direction. If you win, who cares, right? You won, you move on, you're to the goal game. But everybody in Boston, I should say everybody, but people are bitching that Jason Tatum didn't get used in this game. You had Bob Cousy, who I didn't even know was still alive.
Yeah.
If you're doing the Dead or Alive game, Bob Cousy, 96, dropping an F-bomb. Are you kidding me? Now, on WEEI today, Odyssey Sister Station, the Celtic owner speaking out. I don't know how to say his name. Wick Grusbeck. I mean, I wouldn't play Steve Kerr. Let me put it this way. What's going on? It's a complete mystery. I think Jason doesn't deserve anything but praise, kudos, and playing time.
Look, they keep winning. Let's not question the coach. I think Steph Curry bailed out his coach. I think Steph Curry saved Steve Kerr's job again. But whatever, I don't know. I mean, like, is Tatum in that moment? Tatum's a killer. There's no question. But you've got LeBron, you've got Embiid, you've got KD, you've got Steph, and you've got Booker out on the field, or out on the court for the stretch run of that game, and they got it done. I don't need to I don't want to second guess it.
Yeah, Kerr was asked about it, and he just said it was a math problem. Okay, you've got 12 good players on the team. Yeah. They all can't get minutes.
Yeah,
only 5 are on the court.
Yeah. The other bit of NFL news, but really the only bit of NFL, is nothing new out of Dallas except Dak Prescott sitting out of practice, sore ankle. Nothing new to report on the CeeDee Lamb thing other than him clapping back at Jerry Jones on his lack of urgency to get a deal done with CeeDee Lamb, which was kind of taken out of context, actually. But Lamb didn't miss the opportunity to LOL on X. Juju Smith-Schuster released by the New England Patriots.
Now, you could say surface level, well, that makes sense because this is a rebuild and he's old. Well, he's been in the league 8 years. As you point out, Danger, he's 27. Wait a second. That doesn't seem...
Yeah, we forgot how young he was when the Steelers drafted him.
Yeah, this is the part, though, that makes this a little unusual. The Patriots are going to eat $9.6 million against the cap.
Yeah.
They can do that. Again, with all that being said, I think it's the right move. Anybody that wants to say, could we use him in Buffalo? No. No, I'm not interested.
I don't know that he would pass the physical of a lot of teams that he might try out for. He's got a chronic knee issue, and when the word is out, it's going to be hard for him to latch on to a team, even though he's relatively young. He's still 20. He's 27, man. He's got a lot of tread off. He's got a lot of tread worn off of his tires because of his time dealing with that knee injury. And you forget that he was 19 when he was coming up with the Steelers.
If you're wondering, well, when does the Brandon Ayuk trade go through? Will we see him tonight in Steeler gear? The answer is, well, no, because he hasn't been traded to Pittsburgh. In fact, he hasn't been traded anywhere. This is hilarious, Danger. This is like, hey, the 49ers agreed to whatever the compensation was with all these teams, and, hey, you go work out your – oh, you're not getting the money you thought you were getting. You were all upset at us.
Fire your agent. That's my advice to Brandon Ayuk. Fire your agent.
You need to fire your agent, hire somebody, and you know what? Make nice with the 49ers.
It might not be what you want to hear, but it's what you need to hear. You're not worth what you think you are worth. If you're Brandon Ayuk and you think you're a $30 million a year receiver, you are not a $30 million a year receiver. Teams are not going to pay $30 million for your services. You are, at best, a top 20 wide receiver in the NFL. Sorry, Brandon, but that's the reality, and that's what his paid representation should be telling him. Maybe he's afraid to tell him the truth. Maybe they don't have that close a relationship. Fire your agent. This should have been done by now. There's no excuse. And wouldn't it be something if he had to go make nice, swallow his pride, and play for the Niners?
That's what's happening now, right? He's not going to take a pay cut, right?
I almost feel like Shanahan, out of spite, is just like, get this guy out of here. This is a distraction.
Well, yeah.
I hate this. I feel like that's what Shanahan would say. Like, all right, we'll be fine without you. Get out of here.
Well, the agent, his name is Ryan Williams. I don't know anything about Ryan Williams, but apparently Ryan Williams showed up on the sidelines at Raiders camp this week. Remember, the Raiders have the closed.
Oh, yeah.
The Raiders their camp is in the Los Angeles radius, but because they don't have any rights in Los Angeles,
fans can't come.
Fans can't come. Media can't come.
Yeah.
It really is a closed. So, okay, that doesn't seem like a great idea, but that's what the Raiders are doing. And to me, maybe that's Ryan Williams trying to throw a Hail Mary. Like, okay, let me go see if there's a team out there that would be dumb enough to.
Yeah, a team dumb enough to try and pay $30 million to my guy.
Oh, the Raiders. We haven't talked to them yet. Yeah.
Sure. Well, we'll monitor that, but no closure for Brandon Ayuk here as the week concludes. Happy Hour is next on the Fan. I'm sorry. Shots are next on the Fan. Get me to the weekend, buddy.
Okay. Reach into the cooler.
Are you sure?
Absolutely. We knew we had the guest coming in, our visitor from Wyoming. And Danger's like, I can't be doing this.
Well, I like to maintain even a modicum of professionalism from time to time, but it is 5:30 somewhere, meaning right here.
Yeah, I was impressed because I thought for sure you would have been sneaking some in at Bill's camp.
Oh, no. I know I talk a big game, but I don't want to mess with that's a privilege. Like if we did something out of line at Bill's camp, I would feel horrible about that.
We did that, though, a few times.
What did we do? What was out of line? Oh, sneaking them. Yes,
sneaking them in.
Some cold ones in. Yeah. I know we can get away with it, but I don't want to, put it on full display for hey, we're going to have plates and we're going to have beers with the plates. I know I talked a big game. Elena was our guest from ESPN, Elena Getzenberg. I'm like, we're going to get plates and I'm going to bring a cooler. We're going to up our game and then bring a cooler. That was all talk.
No, but we ate the plates and it was
destroyed them. The great plates.
It was impressive to watch Tasker just put on a clinic.
He's a competitor.
Yeah.
He really is. Playing at a high level even at this age. He knows what's up. Got after it. Loved seeing it. Let's get to a round of shots. Now I'm ready.
Yeah, we'll talk more basketball here. Why there is a Rochester connection indirectly to the women's final tomorrow in soccer at the Olympics. We've got some dates here. Now, this is what the NBA always does. They leak the Christmas Day games. And I'll tell you who's going to be in this, but there's one team that was left off. Their fan base kind of upset about it. And also more on the White Sox, of course.
Oh, beautiful. We'll get to that and more next. A round of shots on the way on the Fan.
You're
Sports Update.
The preseason begins tomorrow for the Buffalo Bills. Chicago is the opponent. 1 o'clock kickoff from Highmark. Our coverage on the Fan Rochester will begin at 11 a.m. From the NFL, the Patriots today releasing wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster. New England will carry a $9.6 million figure, a dead cap figure, into 2024. 3 preseason games tonight. Atlanta is in Miami. Houston's in Pittsburgh. Philadelphia is in Baltimore. New York Yankee game tonight in the Bronx. That has been called off. Texas the opponent. They'll make it up as part of a doubleheader tomorrow. Just one game in the majors from this afternoon. The Twins at home beating the Guardians 4-2. The Rochester Red Wings game tonight in Buffalo. Sports brought to you by GetMyPerks.com, where today get half off the Lasertron in Henrietta. Gene Battaglia on the Sports Leader, the Fan Rochester.
Rochester's home for live sports and the best sports talk anywhere. The Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan, Rochester.
All right, let's get to a round of shots as we close up shop here in the sports bar.
You know, certainly that was not comfortable this time yesterday for the U.S. men's basketball team, but quietly LeBron James had another great game. He went for a triple-double, his second in Olympic competition. In fact, there's only been 4 triple-doubles all time in Olympic competition, and James is the only guy to have done it twice. With the Bills' preseason game wrapping up somewhere around 4 o'clock tomorrow, you're going to be able to catch most of this game. USA-France, the gold medal game, 3:30 Eastern time. The U.S. minus 13.5 on FanDuel.
Who you like?
I think
13.5. That's
I think.
You think they're going to roll?
Yeah, I think they're going to roll.
Team USA, give them the minus the 13.5. I agree with you, by the way. I think that was a wake-up call.
Yeah.
Like, Serbia is going to, France will present a different challenge, but Serbia was, for all the times they played them leading up to yesterday's game, you would have thought that they would have been a little bit more prepared, a little bit more ready for that game.
Well, what's that atmosphere going to be like tomorrow?
It's going to be insane.
It is
their public enemy number one.
Right. So you got to kind of bond together, and you're going to rise up. I think the United States rolls, and the building's quiet by the fourth quarter.
Maybe give Tatum some minutes. I don't know. Just an idea.
I think this is silly how everybody is so upset about this.
Well, they can be. I understand why they would be upset. I mean, Tatum's a nice player. For him not to sniff the court doesn't make a ton of sense.
Yeah.
But maybe give him a few minutes against France tomorrow. What do you think?
Yeah,
Kerr.
You know you're good in any field if you just go by one name, right? Danger. I can call you Danger.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
I see what you did there.
I took that away from you because I knew you would say that. Soccer fans know the name Marta.
Of course.
Heck, Rochester sports fans should know the name Marta. She played here in 2011 with the now defunct Western New York Flash. Well, tomorrow's going to be Marta's last game. The 38-year-old will be retiring, and her last game is going to be the gold medal game in women's soccer. United States against Marta's Brazilian team. Marta actually returns tomorrow after serving a 2-game suspension for getting a red card in the last group stage game. 11 a.m. tomorrow, the coverage again, of course, on NBC.
You think she goes out with another red card? I don't know, man. Honestly, hearing that she's 38, I thought, given when she played here, I didn't realize she was that young when she played here. She was considered by many the best player in the world when she was here.
Such a miss. Such a miss.
We really did not. We really took that for granted, didn't we? 38 years old now. Wow.
Yeah.
Great career.
Heck, and if you don't be embarrassed if you thought, oh, she's still playing.
I honestly, I thought when she was here, I thought she was older than what she was. To hear that she's 38 all these years later, I'm like, wow.
Well, when Pele was playing way back in the day over here was to collect a paycheck, and that's what I thought Marta was, but
correct.
There wasn't.
Right, I'm like, okay, she's at the end of her career. Yeah. She's taking a paycheck in Rochester. No, she still had a lot of soccer left in her. I mean, you say she was here in 2011, so what are we talking about? 13 years later.
She's 25.
She was 25 when she was here. That doesn't compute with me. I thought she was older than that when she was here. She's good.
Yeah, 1 year she was here. Where baseball released its 2025 schedule a month ago, which was dumb. We're still waiting on the NBA schedule, the full schedule that begins in 3 months, but we do have the Christmas Day games now.
That's important.
According to the Athletics' Shams Charania, okay, we'll go through the exercise. Which team was left out here? Spurs at Knicks, of course. Timberwolves at Mavs.
Okay.
Sixers at Celtics. Of course, you're going to go Lakers, Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
And then capping off the late game, the Nuggets and the Suns.
Okay.
Milwaukee fans wondering and upset why they were left out today.
It's not a failure. This is not a failure. You got to understand we don't want to play on
steps to
There are
it.
steps to playing on Christmas Day.
Do you get a promotion every year on your job? No, right? So every year you work is a failure. Yes or no? No. Every year you work towards something, towards a goal, right? Which is to get a promotion, to be able to take care of your family, to be able, I don't know, provide the house for them or take care of your parents. You work towards a goal. It's not a failure. It's steps to success. You know, and if you've never, I don't want to make it personal. So there's always steps to it. You know, Michael Jordan played 15 years, won 6 championships. The other 9 years was a failure. That's what you're telling me. No, I'm asking you a question. Yes or no?
No, I mean, I don't think so. No.
Okay, exactly. So why are you asking me that question? It's a wrong question. There's no failure in sports.
Huh?
You know, there's good days, bad days. Some days you are able to be successful. Some days you're not. Some days it's your turn. Some days it's not your turn. And that's what sports is about. You don't always win. Some other people's gonna win. And this year somebody else is gonna win.
I know.
Simple as that.
I know that there are a lot of people that love that.
That's about sportsmanship.
Yeah,
That's
a lot of people love it.
Good for our children.
I listen to that and I think, wow, your team just got bounced by an 8 seed when he made these comments. You got bounced by an 8 seed. Your coach got fired a couple days after you made these comments. So tell me again how it's not viewed as a failure and there's no failure in sports. No, it was a failure. You can just say it was a failure, but we're going to learn from it and we're going to get better from it. But clearly that question cut a little bit close to the bone for Giannis, and he really couldn't handle it. I'm off Giannis. I don't need to see him. I don't need him and his loser energy on Christmas. I do not need it. I've got NFL football to watch.
Don't worry, because eventually LeBron will retire and Giannis will end up in L.A., and that's right. That's the destination.
I've got another question, though, if we're going to talk NBAs. When is bronze medal match?
You said after the Lakers win, you said you were surprised that you didn't feel more. So I'm curious what you are feeling right now, and if you're looking forward to a parade coming up in Denver.
When is parade?
When is bronze medal?
When is parade?
Thursday.
Bronze medal.
No.
No.
I need to go home. Okay.
Love Jokic.
The sigh at the end is like that. That's underrated.
Truly doesn't want to be there. I need to go home. When it's parade? No. I don't want to be at the parade. When is bronze medal match? No. I need to go home.
Chichi Rodriguez passed.
This bums me out,
yeah,
man.
after serving in the Army, he became the first native of Puerto Rico to serve to join the PGA Tour. 1960, he won 8 times on the tour, played in 1 Ryder Cup. But let's be honest, what he was best known for was the showmanship. After making a putt, he had this routine he would call the Matador. You remember he'd take the putter and
it's great.
Chichi Rodriguez was 88.
Showman. And was there any truth to the I think it's a now defunct Mexican chain. Was that named after him, or is it completely different? Do we know?
I don't know. The
You
Chi-Chis, yeah.
remember
the
Chi-Chis, right? There was a Chi-Chis. I want to say there was a Chi-Chis on Jefferson when I first moved here. Yeah,
I missed that.
Chi-Chis had elite fried ice cream. You go to a Mexican restaurant, and that's like, a typical like dessert. Hey, you want to try our fried ice cream? I don't know what they did. Cornflakes. I don't know. What was it? Cinnamon Toast Crunch? Whatever it was, that fried ice cream was elite. Still think about that. Chi-Chi's fried ice cream.
According to Wikipedia, one of the founders was former Packers player Max McGee. Huh. Okay. I don't know. I'll have to look that up.
But they called it Chi-Chi's.
Chi-Chi's, yeah.
And, that's, I think, the second most popular Chi-Chi on the planet. Because Chi-Chi Rodriguez was fantastic.
Was fun. Jim Harbaugh. Did you see this danger? He's going to be back at Michigan Stadium for the season opener, August 31st against Fresno State.
Yes!
This is 2 middle fingers, both for Harbaugh and the school. This comes only days after
love it.
the NCAA handed down a 4-year show cause penalty to Harbaugh.
They are a joke. They are an absolute joke, and I love that he's showing them up as for the joke that they are. Harbaugh's representation putting out the statement that they put out after this is like, it's a joke. It's an absolute joke. You know what he cares about now? He cares about winning football games in the NFL. Do you think he cares about what you think he did or didn't do right or wrong while he was at Michigan? Bye.
Okay, so it doesn't work out with the Chargers. 4 years is okay. That would be timing out where he can go back to college in 4 years.
Or do you think at that point, do you think he cares?
No, by that point, the NCAA is gone.
Right. What
the whole
What a
thing.
clown organization.
Yeah.
Good for him. Glad he's showing them up. That's going to be awesome. I love that.
Interim manager of the Chicago White Sox sounds like a gross job, right? It's a no-win situation. Team sucks. You're not going to get the job, but I'm not sure that's how Grady Sizemore sees it. After taking time off after his playing days as a baseball player, well, Sizemore wanted to get back into it, but where do you start? I mean, it's hard on the coaching or management side. Well, with not many options, he took an internship just last year with Arizona, one that paid him $15 an hour.
Nice.
The guy that hired him in Arizona, a guy named Josh Barfield, he then leaves to become the assistant GM of the White Sox, networking danger and being humble.
Yeah, I kind of like that story, but I don't know that means that he's the best guy for the job.
No, it's probably like, okay, we just need to ride this out.
We have a warm body in the clubhouse, and that'll be that. We just prop up Bernie from Weekend at Bernie's in the White Sox dugout, and that'll be good for a manager for the rest of the season.
Finally, George Mason basketball, D1 program. Remember they went to the Final Four?
I do remember that.
This story is bonkers here. The Patriots, they're going on a 5-day trip to the Bahamas, right? It's one of these tournaments. We saw Syracuse go over to Italy. You're allowed to do this every so often. And they were going to play some teams down there and just kind of a preseason bonding sort of thing. But when George Mason, the men's basketball program, arrived in the Bahamas, they learned that there were no hotels booked and there were actually no opponents to play. The finger quote here, travel agency that set this up, they actually scammed them.
Oh, so that's a thing.
They scammed them. Like that, people are saying this is like the Fire Festival, but now the people that did this, they're gone for the hills. So
they got the university's money, and they didn't book anything.
They didn't book. Well, they booked the airfare down. So the airfare, okay, here's your tickets. And then when they get down, there's no contact. There's no hotels. Nobody knows anything.
There's no It's not a tournament. It's them playing
exhibition style. So the NCAA has this weird rule that once every 4 years, or is it 10? Regardless, you can go in the summer and go play some exhibition games. And, well, George Mason thought this would be a great idea in the Bahamas, and they'd be playing all these other teams, and they totally got scammed.
The Fire Festival of college basketball. When's the Netflix doc coming out? I can't wait to see it.
Did you see Fire Festival?
Oh, it's unbelievable.
See, you're way more in the concert business. I've seen a little bit of
it. It's unbelievable.
It's amazing.
We had Ja Rule come to a PXY Summer Jam in 2001, and then I know this guy's kind of crooked. Like it took some serious gymnastics to get him to show up for something he committed to do. Shocking that this thing didn't get off the ground, that there was some corners cut. Shocking, I tell you. Yeah, that was unbelievable. That's going to do it for us. Man, what an unbelievable week. We wrapped up training camp from St. John Fisher University. We've got preseason football tomorrow with our coverage starting at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, kickoff at 1 o'clock. The Bills and the Bears, preseason week 1. And we'll be back on Monday to react to all of it here in the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia. JR Sport Brief next on the Fan Rochester.